This ear-taking orc. Parker was heard saying that Jasmine was willing to accept herself. Very excited, he asked Parker, "When did Jasmine say that? Did he say when he accepted me?" Parker was annoyed. A punch slammed into the stone. The big rock was shaken and rolled down. Slam into the orc's head. Oops, the world is finally clear. Wait until Parker turns his head to look. Orcs pressed under the stones. I also feel very strong. Picked up the stone. Continue to ask when Parker Jasmine said that. Tell me. Yesterday, I woke up yesterday. The bird-eared orcs thought shyly. It seems to be true. Hee. Then Parker told him compassionately. Some males in the tribe disliked him for not being in heat. At that time, only the orcs of the ear cared for Jasmine. When he heard this, he was not happy. There are people who dislike Jasmine. Who said that? Parker looked up and shifted his chin and said it was him. Care turned his head to see that it was Carl. Carl had also asked him about Jasmine before. Unexpectedly, the atmosphere was very tense. Carl also dropped the stone, transformed into a beast form. Cher was questioned about Carl. Why dislike Jasmine? The content of the quarrel between the two is probably that. Wow. The two tigers fought. It was clear that Carl had the upper hand. That's when Vincent walked over. Seeing giants fighting in their own tribe, Vincent immediately turned into a beast form. There was a loud yell, "Don't fight." Immediately put two tigers fighting. Scared into a kitten, Vincent's eyes lit up. All the eye knives flew past. The two beasts were shocked. The two shocks, although the fight was stopped by Vincent. But the beam of the two ended like this. Vincent called out Carl at this point. You should know that I am. Where did it come from? Carl was shocked. His eyes widened as he looked at Vincent. Anticipate the future and listen to the next breakdown. Vincent, the big white tiger, taught the little white tiger a lesson. The little white tiger was so frightened that he trembled. I don't know what you mean. Don't understand that it's better to do what you have to do. At this time, Vincent's body felt Carl. There was a familiar smell on the body. Could it be from Yinqing? But it doesn't look like a teenager. Maybe it's because I'm thinking too much. I didn't think about it anymore. The green baby here is still working hard. If you are tired, you can drop the bucket and lie on the ground to rest for a while. Asked Vincent what he had made himself in. Sison explained that it was mud and stone slurry. Consists of two things. One is the special stone that is common in the crevices of stone mountains. The other is clay. Is it a pot or concrete? Green Hair wiped his sweat and questioned whether it would be useful. Vincent went on to explain that the stone was crushed into powder. And clay. After drying, it became something as hard as a stone. Vincent also wanted to go on and explain. Green Hair wasn't in the mood to continue listening. He just wanted to rest for a while. Vincent saw that he was indeed tired. Didn't toss him anymore. By evening, the orcs were already off work. They all carried food to the water's edge. Pick up your own female. I saw that many male orcs were off work. The females were also very happy. Bai Qingqing called out to her partner. Parker stepped in, threw himself into Bai Qingqing's arms. Bai Qingqing told Parker to hurry up and wash it. Parker snapped happily and jumped into the puddle. I took a comfortable shower. After a while, I noticed that the water turned red, only to find out there are orcs upstream washing the prey that they have brought back today. It was stained red with the blood of wild beasts. After going ashore, Bai Qingquan saw the shellfish next to him. Chi and Ford. The little cubs want to play by the fire. Ford was afraid that the little cub would be burned. Hurry up with your own tail to Will. The little cubs swept over. Qingqing went over and picked up the little fish. Come to Mommy's arms. Parker then asked Bai Qingqing what he wanted to eat. Bai Qingqing said that I want to eat cereals. Parker said that there was no grain in the tribe now. Forget it if you don't. It was then proposed to leave a little seed. It could be planted next year. It's time for next year. You can eat fresh grains. On the third pole of the sun, Bai Qingqing woke up. Parker received that he was going to the azure grass to pick some wheat. There are a lot of new tiger beasts. The construction period was much faster than before. Now plant the seeds a little earlier. I can grow quickly without it. Then Bai Qingqing told Parker, when you go out, you have to work hard. Hard work. Parker chirped unexpectedly, kissed Bai Qingqing on the forehead. Speaking of which, you have the strength to work. Bai Qingqing came to a more ruthless one. Just chirp it with your mouth. A stamp was put on Parker's mouth. Injuries are blessed with strength. Parker covered his mouth shyly. Qingqing, you just got up and didn't brush your teeth. However, he also pounced on Bai Qingqing excitedly. The picture behind it is not good looking. At this time, the green fur flying in the sky saw the Jasmine on the ground. Something was wrong with him. Jasmine called out to the green fur. The green fur plummeted, quickly flew to Jasmine's side, transformed into a human form, gathered next to Jasmine to show off. He asked excitedly, "Goo goo goo, you're in heat." Jasmine said with a blushing face, "I've eaten the flame fruit for 7 days. The fragrance of estrus is not good. I am pursuing Bai Qingqing. I can't control myself. It must have been because it was too close to him. I had to control myself." Jasmine asked me suddenly, "If you fall in love, be my bear. Can I do it?" The green hair that struggles very much in his heart, thinking that Bai Qingqing didn't accept himself anyway. It's okay to be a partner with Jasmine. It is when the green hair is about to start. It occurred to me, Jasmine was with that tiger beast last time, out of the double and pair. Even that tiger beast. There was a fight for him 2 days ago. After a series of mental struggles, immediately decided to give up. Sundara turned her head and asked Jasmine to find it. Other males. Jasmine hurriedly wiped her tears and couldn't cry. Can't cry, and then asked Green Air, "You listen. This is my last chance for you." At this time, the green fur, who calmed down, was very indifferent. Seeing such a performance, Jasmine was very sad. Stomp your feet, hum, don't regret it. Wiping away tears. The scent of jasmine running up. A walk through the breeze went around the tribe. Numerous beasts. Everyone smells jasmine estrus. A little friend who is familiar with jasmine. You know it as soon as you smell it. It seems to be jasmine. Then he hurried towards the place where the smell came from. Rushed over. At this time, Jasmine was crying in front of her. Edgar, the ear-catching orc, hurriedly ran over. "Jasmine, Edgar. Although I'm in heat now, but I'm not done yet." At this time, Edgar very gently wiped away the tears from Jasmine's face. "Jasmine, your tears make me so sad." Edgar comforts Jasmine, who is rejected by the green door. At this time, Jasmine, who was moved, thought about going around and around. Or the original suitor is the most intimate. Jasmine asked Edgar, "Are you here to find me to relieve the brigade?" Edgar, haven't spoken yet." Jasmine was very happy and said yes. "Go to your house today. What are you still doing? Come here. Good to hear the good news of the loving home. Very excited. I can't walk. This leg is like borrowing someone else's." Jasmine was amused by the silliness of her loving home. It was Carl who rushed over and stopped Jasmine. Edgar saw Carl coming, immediately picked up Jasmine and walked to his home. I thought to myself, we'll never give Carl again a chance to hurt Jasmine again. Don't be afraid, Edgar. I'm not going to let them hurt you anymore. Well, other males, seeing that Jasmine has made a choice, no more useless struggles, then they gave up and scattered. At this time, Carl still rushed over without giving up. Said Jasmine to Jasmine, "Can you hear me finished? Get lost. You have now chosen your first partner. Accept me." Edgar was even more angry. "I told you to get out. Didn't you hear?" A kick in Carl's abdomen. A click knocked Carl to the ground. The bang surprised Edgar as well. Wasn't this kid quite capable of fighting yesterday? Now how to judge the two tigers. Carl swore and said that you would kill me. I'm not going to give up pursuing Jasmine. This Edgar off. Then he lifted his thighs, shouted angrily to find death. Stop it. Jasmine quickly stopped Edgar and asked Carl, Are you sincere? Edgar was very surprised. Jasmine, what are you doing? Carl hurriedly said happily that it was good to change the bag as if it were fake. I accept you. Are you sure? A woman, your name is Greedy. Jasmine was also very shy and said really. This made Edgar unhappy. Asked that Jasmine why. Jasmine said, At least Carl was genuinely good to me. Like that stinky peacock. A proud horse. I'm going to make him regret rejecting my loving home today. At this time, he also looked at Jasmine affectionately. Say now that you've decided. Then I respect your choice. Then the three of them were ready to return to love together. Of the home. The loving home said to Carl behind him. Although my home is not a luxurious place, not everyone can get in. Carl pointed to himself in shock. Do you mean me? Edgar continued. Somebody is just out there. At this time, Carl covered his face and smiled. It's a bad guy. Look at the lively white green in the distance. Meet your best friend Jasmine. I also found my partner. I am also happy for him, and I am glad to congratulate him. Red thunder rang out in the sky. It was raining heavily. Bai Qingqing sighed in the hollow of the tree. It's finally raining. Parker brought Bai Qingqing bath water. Do you need me to wash it for you? All-round massage for you. Bai Qingqing glared at Parker viciously. Go to the entrance of the cave and guard it. Is it really not needed? I'm super technical, no. Thanks, okay. He gently poked his feet into the water. The water temperature is just right. It's quite frizzy to think of Parker's usual behavior. I didn't expect to be quite attentive to my own affairs. Parker, who was driven away, felt unneeded. There's a little bit of sadness. Benson, however, was completely invigorous. Parker looked at the heavy rain outside. Thinking about today's time, I must have to re-water. But at this time, Parker didn't care about this. I thought that the peacock was there anyway. Just let him fly again. Then he turned his head and asked about the weather forecast lying down. It's been raining in chorus these days. Nonsense, whoa. Who are you talking about? Vincent said if it continued to rain, you have to stop work for a few days. Bai said softly that it would be good to stop for a few days. Let's take a break. You can let the males take care of the females. Vincent didn't look at him when he saw Bai Qingqing taking a bath. Instead, he turned his head and said evasively, Reproduction is the biggest thing, even if you have to keep working. A male will also be left for Jasmine. Take care of Jasmine when she sees herself. Girlfriends have proper arrangements. Bai Qing also breathed a sigh of relief. That would be good. But still tell Jasmine to guard against Carl. Chinsen also said stubbornly, Carl isn't a partner yet. At best, it's just a lover. Bai Qingqing covered her mouth. It looked pitiful. Thinking that he had almost rejected Curtis. Made Curtis a rootless beast as well. And glad that he did not refuse Curtis. It also makes his current life so comfortable. Bai Qingqing, who fell into imagination, smirked. In front of him are two perverts. He was looking at him with a pan orangutan. Bai Qingqing, who opened his eyes, suddenly felt bad. Whoosh into the water. Bai Qingqing, who had just finished taking a shower, had not yet put on his clothes. It was used by Curtis with a snake's tail. It rolled over with a whoosh. Seeing Curtis, he took advantage of Bai Qingqing again. Parker was angry. Curtis explained. He just wanted Bai Qingqing to be warm and warm. Then he immediately proposed to give Bai Qingqing an injection. Parker was furious. Speaking of that would hurt the little ones. Bai Qingqing was also slightly worried. Said to Curtis, Can you wait for the child to come out before getting the injection? Curtis continued, with such injections from time to time. Otherwise, the cubs will be stronger. Didn't wait for Bai Qingqing to refuse. Curtis had already started working. Parker lying in front of the window. Once again, Vincent's feelings were felt. It's the rhythm of a sleepless night. Personal joy. The loneliness of the other two. Jasmine meets Carl because she doesn't believe him. And very sad. Then I proposed. Then go out for a walk. But come back soon. Carl suddenly said very happily. Let's go see the azure grass flowers. Okay. After a while, the two of them came to the azure meadow. Jasmine offered to let herself go down. No. It's I like to drag you. I noticed that Carl seemed to have become much gentler. And it had just rained heavily. Now it's still more comfortable to sit on the back of a tiger. At least not get wet from the rain. At this time, Carl carried Jasmine deeper and deeper. Walk into the depths of the grass. Jasmine began to get a little anxious. Speaking of his dress, his clothes were wet. He's going back. Carl was impatient at this point. Annoyedly, he turned his head to Jasmine and said okay. Hearing this tone, Jasmine was very aggrieved. Why are you so impatient? Afterwards, Carl still carried Jasmine out of the thick grass. Jasmine, who came back to her senses, only found out at this time. It doesn't seem like the way home. At this time, Jasmine was even more anxious, and I wanted to go back to the tribe. What did you bring me here for? Jasmine said as she used her own hand, slapping Carl on the head. Carl was even more angry. That it took 2 quick steps and scurried forward. Whoosh jumped and sped up. When he was on duty next to him, he saw a tiger, carrying a female. Went to the periphery of the horde. I thought that it was the young man who liked excitement. Didn't bother anymore. Jasmine, who was hunched on her back at this time, was very flustered, desperately trying to stop Carl. Tell Carl to stop, that he's going back to the city. Carl. At this time, he completely ignored Jasmine, who was being pressed. Now the only way is Tigger. Then I thought that it must hurt to jump. See your surroundings. It's a completely unfamiliar place again. Why is this happening to Carl? Could it be that Carl would treat P like that? Strange treats himself like that. Ran back thousands of miles to get revenge on himself. The thought of this Jasmine was completely crazy. He didn't care about the pain in his body. With a kick of both legs, the tiger is a Jurji. Jasmine, who fell to the ground, let out a scream. Carl turned his head and saw Jasmine jumping off the tiger. He also stopped and walked towards Jasmine. What do you want to do? At this point, the fox's tail is exposed. Carmen in his original form. His eyes were full of hatred. Shouted loudly, what do you think? Fake is fake. You came back from the beginning to get revenge on me. Is it Carl no longer hiding at this time? Crooked mouth and snorted. Carl tricked Jasmine out of the tribe. The nature is completely exposed, and a handful catches Jasmine. Ha ha ha, bit Jasmine's shoulder. Jasmine screamed in fright. At this time, Edgar rushed from a distance. Carl is seen bullying Jasmine. Jasmine cries out for help. Edgar scurried over, desperately rushed towards the little white tiger. Little white tiger Carl has a flexible move. Handed over a flash to dodge Edgar's attack. A thud swooped back. Edgar was trampled under his feet. Edgar, be careful. Carl bared his fangs. One bite on Edgar's back. Edgar struggled to his feet, but I saw Carl clenching on to the tiger skin. Endured the severe pain and forcibly tore off his tiger skin. In order to seize the opportunity, he fought back. Jasmine was also shocked. Why did Carl appear so strong this time? Seeing Edgar out of weakness. In my dreams, I thought I couldn't sit still. We have to hurry back to the rescuers. Then he struggled to get up. Dripping with blood and enduring the pain, he ran back. Little white protector Carl turned his head and saw Jasmine, who had fled. Umph, do you think you can run? Then it was as easy as Edgar fell to the ground. Edgar, who was lying in blood, tried to get to his feet. Jasmine, run. I'll help you buy more time. Edgar stood up tremblingly. Was bitten by the white tiger Carl. Shook it out. This left Edgar completely incapacitated to resist. The child licked his paw and said conceitedly, vulnerable. I pretended to be tired enough in front of Jasmine. Jasmine was running in front. Carl was chasing after him. Jasmine was soon caught up. Carl pounced on a vicious dog. With a snort, he jumped over. With a clatter, he pressed Jasmine to his feet. Said happily hum. You got it today. It hurts, and there will be more pain in the future. But don't die. Then he stuck out his fangs. Walked through Jasmine's clothes. Easily lifted Jasmine up. What are you going to do? Let go of me. Carl paid complete no heed. Hold Jasmine in your mouth. It's like dripping a little cub. Drag Jasmine all the way. Terrible screams rang out from the periphery of the tribe. Orcs holding hands in the tribe. I don't know why. I'm going to go out with a few brothers. Soon after, Edgar was found in the jungle. Edgar, who was dying, muttered about help. Save Jasmine, save Jasmine. The orc, who was saved, quickly roared. Reminds the orcs of the tribe. There was an emergency situation. Everyone was very alert when they heard the tiger's roar. Lenson immediately turned into a bestiac. Quickly in the direction of the sound. Rushed over. I met the team leader who rushed over. The team leader said that Jasmine had been robbed. Vincent thought, Curtis and Bai Qingqing have not returned. Now all the tribes go out. An empty nest in the tribe is too dangerous. Then let the others guard the tribe. Decided to save Jasmine by himself first. The team leader thought that Vincent's strength was so strong. He was relieved to stop the orcs who were following him. All the trust was placed in Vincent. The natural green horse also learned the news. Follow Vincent to save Jasmine. That's it. A bird and a beast embark on a journey to find Jasmine. By observing the traces left by Carl. And smell him. Vincent guessed that Carl had taken Jasmine to Salt City. Tell me to speed up the pace immediately. Quicken the wings to insight. It had to be before Carl entered Salt City. Find him. Gugu immediately responded to Vincent. Stir your wings vigorously and rush forward. The screen cuts to this side. Carl threw Jasmine to the ground. Jasmine kept begging Carl to let her go. Carl walked up to Jasmine, squatted down, and wiped the tears from Jasmine's face with his hands. Carl, who was still smiling just now, suddenly changed his face. Loudly scolded me now. Will you still take it? Jasmine was so frightened that she shivered and said no. As long as you don't hurt me. Let's go back to the tribe. You're still my partner. You lie and leave the tribe for a year. I deliberately learned how to seduce magnetism. You like. It's just the silhouette of those males I've ever seen. What ha-ha? The most ridiculous thing is, use this set of methods. I succeeded in seducing quite a few females. And only then try it on you. I didn't expect you to be so difficult. But it's the fastest one I can get started. Ah. Carl pervertedly wiped the tears from Jasmine's face. Jasmine, who was trembling with fear, couldn't stop apologizing. I'm sorry. How can you let me go? Well, let you go. There are also several deep and shallow scars. It is a common trace on the body of rootless beasts. There are even people who have their hearts pulled out and die. I'm afraid I'm the only one who died. I'll probably be able to let you go. Get up and let go of me. Carl then ran forward with Jasmine on his shoulder. Help, the tattoo of the ground chase was found. There were no clues along the way. Even broken footprints. Greenfur walked down, said it was probably because the wind was blowing. The sand covered the footprints. Randomly poked out his nose and showed off. Didn't smell anything. At the same time, he complained about the stupid female. Even if you are greedy for play, you will lose yourself. A reprimand to the air. Pick the male eye. It's too bad, isn't it? Bai Qingqing is so good. Won't he learn Bai Qingqing? Well, but it seems that I'm also Jasmine's favorite planet. The tattoo on the side ignored it. Neurotic like green hair. Her brain was thinking, where else can you go without footprints and traces? Then it was like a flash of inspiration. When it comes to the green hair, keep up. Although I didn't understand what was going on. The green fur still changed into the shape of a beast. Suddenly, it flew into the sky. What's wrong with the Goo Goo Beastmaster? Vincent hastened to explain. It is possible that Carl went to Yinqing. I was misled by them just now. That's why I went in the opposite direction. Goo goo goo. Almost scammed. Vincent continued. I heard that your strength is good. What? What's going on with this sudden compliment? Vincent snapped down on Greenhair's wings. Jumped on the back of the Greenhair. What are you doing? It's too late. Let's go to Yinqing to call for feeding. You're doing this like you're doing it like your exclusive car. I'm sorry for your speed. Fly a little steady, and I'll direct the direction. I said you could hump 2 males, yes. But that's a metaphor. Aren't you just putting it into practice? That's what I seem. This must be the most humiliating part of my bird's life. I'm going to get Jasmine back. Curtis took the white green, but shed his skin in the wild. In a hole in the ground, because there is no light. Bai Qingqing looked a little scared, and there was no movement around. Frightened, he screamed Curtis in the dark. But Curtis didn't react at any time. Curtis can't have forgotten me. The white and green between the grains. Such a cute look. I wanted to play a trick on him. On the side, he couldn't hold back his laughter. Bai Qingqing and C are concentrating. I didn't hear any movement, because the darkness only aggravated Bai Qingqing's fear. Before, I couldn't touch people. Now how do you feel up and down, left and right, front and back? It's a human, mischievous Chris pretending to be a ghost. Scared by Qingqing. Ah! Help! Go away, go away, go away. I'm not afraid of you. Suddenly, Bai Qingqing waved her hand wildly. Hit something with a snap. Tyson, you're right. You come out for me. At this time, Curtis was playful and didn't want to end. Circling around Bai Qingqing's side continued to scare him. At this time, I saw Bai Qingqing reaching out and touching it. It seems that the whole person quickly calmed down. Said okay with a smile. It's not early. Let's go home. Open the exit hole first. Curtis stretched out his hand and shook it in front of Bai Qingqing's eyes. Found that Bai Qingqing couldn't see his own hum. This little girl has also learned to blow people. Seeing that this trick will not work, Bai Qingqing sat down suddenly, crying out loud, Curtis, a snake with no conscience. Let a pregnant woman be alone, bitter in this black hole, sleepy, and then cried out loudly to Curtis. What a wolf-hearted dog's lungs. Femme fatale. Small-bellied chicken intestines. Rat-eyed. Beastly. Pigs and dogs are not as good as longworms. Didn't wait for Bai Qingqing to finish speaking. Curtis walked into Bai Qingqing's ear. Blew a breath. Immediately scared Bai Qingqing to death. Hell! Here comes Curtis again, hanging Rao upside down by his tail. Frightened, Bai Qingqing was clever again. The difference scared the kids out. Finally see Curtis show up. Bai Qingqing is angry and does not fight in one place. Reaching out and starting to scratch Curtis, I knew it was you. You play with my kid and almost scared me out of you. I'll see if I have any, or I'll let you conceive another one. I hate it. Come on. No kidding. Let's go back. Chorus pressed Bai Qingqing to the ground. I mean it. Bai Qingqing swallowed a mouthful of saliva and looked at Chorus. Chorus tweeted, put a stamp on Bai Qingqing's mouth. Then the two began to be ashamed. Cracking sound. Bai Qingqing, who was given a shot, suddenly became honest. Curtis asked if Bai Qingqing was still angry. Angry at who told you to scare me. The work is done, and the anger is still gone. You're still laughing. Let's go home, huh? Curtis then slammed it with his own snake tail. Punched a hole in the stone wall. Let's go, and then carry Bai Qingqing and the snake back. Out of the hole. That's when Curtis stopped suddenly. Bai Qingqing asked what was wrong. Curtis then pointed to the blood on the ground. There are traces of wild beasts hitting here. Something seems to have happened to your female friend. Who's Jasmine? Hearing this, Bai Qingqing suddenly became nervous. I want to get back to the tribe quickly. See what the hell is going on. After returning to the horde, It was found that all the females were hiding. Bai Qingqing called out to Parker, asked what happened to Jasmine. Huck replied that Jasmine had been kidnapped by Carl, and said that Bai Qingqing was reassured. Vincent has already gone after him. And Edgar, who fought with Carl. Now he is seriously injured, being treated. Parker was worried that Bai Qingqing couldn't stand the bloody scene. It's okay, but it's a life. Okay, then you come with me. After that, the two of them came to Jasmine's tree hole. Met Edgar. Parker fears that Edgar will die and live. Don't let Bai Qingqing guard him. Bai Qingqing offered to at least help him catch the flies. If the wound is infected with bacteria, it's harder to live. Parker said, you don't want to wipe him off. Where can I cool him down when it's so hot? It's not under the water, where the sun can't shine. Underwater, Parker, you're so smart. It was then proposed to send this Edgar to water. That's when he went to Parker. It turns out that boasting about yourself is because of this. Do you still have to help him clean the straits later? It's so smart, don't you? Parker and Mr. White. Delicate help Edgar. Clean the wound. Then help him with the medicine. Then he let the blue gate blow a cannon. Edgar was transported to the bottom to cool down. After a series of meticulous care, Edgar finally woke up. After Edgar woke up, the first thing I asked was Jasmine. Vincent and Alva went to save him. The two of them are amazing. Will definitely be saved. You can rest assured. That means Jasmine is still in danger. No, I'm going to save him. Hey, you can't move. The wound will crack open. You just picked up a life, and you're messing around. In case Jasmine comes back tomorrow and wants to come and buy you. How sad Jasmine was then. Well, that's right. You have to believe that Vincent will get him back. When I came to drink medicine, I thought that I must take care of my body. Wait for Jasmine's return. Without saying a word, the Ite family took the medicine bowl. Grunt and take a dry mouthful. Seeing Edgar drink the medicine so obediently, Bai lightly breathed a sigh of relief. Vincent, who had been guarding outside Yinqing for a few days. Haven't seen Carl yet. Green Fur can't wait. Knocking on the wall, he said, wouldn't it be here at all? Vincent said it had been so many days. It's long overdue. Wait until Carl is not here. Or is there another entrance to Yinqing? Then let the green hair continue to hold on to the fetus. Check out the other places. Vincent swaggered into Yinqing. The camera pans to Carl's side. Carl is giving Jasmine an injection. Jasmine kept begging Carl to let her go. Don't mess around, I'm not interested. Vincent wandered around the rock city, but he never found the slightest clue. The camera pans to Carl's side again. Carl hasn't finished giving Jasmine the shot yet. Afraid of the beast next to him. People can't wait to fight. I'm first, I'm first, I'm first. Such a noisy environment makes Carl sexually useless. Shouted loudly and made a noise. What a noise! Jasmine was still begging Carl. Let yourself go. How is that possible? Aren't you happy with me? Ha ha ha. Happy ghosts. The glass was still shivering after being shot by Carl. Holding his legs, he was aggrieved and scared. Carl belted and packed his leather skirt. The poisoned orcs in the back are already hungry. Injections were requested. Carl immediately refused, saying that it was not yet time. It won't be their turn until they've had enough. Then, one of them was stimulated by words to Carl. Reminds Carl of the fact that he was abandoned. Suddenly, on the way, he grabbed Jasmine's hair. Jasmine, who was in pain, begged for mercy one by one. But it didn't work. The other orcs saw Carl treating the female. So cruel. They all swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Carl pulled Jasmine in front of the group, showing his cruelty to the other orcs. I have no affection for him. There is only hatred. He will also be beaten by other males and females. More brutal treatment. Then he snorted, threw Jasmine to the ground. He then kicked a piece of meat on the ground. Viciously threatens Jasmine to eat it quickly. Jasmine ignored Carl's threat, hugged his legs, and cried bitterly. This time outside, There was the sound of barefoot boards lapping on the ground. Blah blah. An alert Carl turned his head. This scream attracted many descendants to look backwards. Vincent walked over to the cave and poked his head into it. A group of lions were seen eating. Ah, sorry for the wrong go. The male lion sees a strange male. Walked into their own turf. Roared. Tattoo, mild explanation. He didn't come to plunder food. Just came looking for someone. No offense. Hey, pay attention to the tattoo is not cowardly. The angry lion looked at it carefully, only to find out that it was a Sven Tiger King. Suddenly the lion was intimidated. The tattoo breathed a sigh of relief and did not find Jasmine. Some of the inhabitants of the disappointed rock formations are divided into 4 classes. The next layer is the 3rd layer. Vincent prayed silently in the bottom of his heart. Hope to be able to find Jasmine. Carl's here. The sound of the bar is from Lang Laosan. Lang Laosan walked in quickly. Tell Carl that he saw the Tiger King outside. Tattoos are abominable. Sure enough, the Tiger King still came. Vincent was about to find Jasmine. This made Carl anxious. Jasmine hears that the Tiger King has come to save herself. So he shouted, Tiger King, I'm here. Come and save me. Carlton exclaimed, hurriedly rushed over. A handful covered Jasmine's mouth and shut his mouth. If you shout again, I'll kill you. Other recipient proposals. Let Carl bring Jasmine to the top floor. Maybe you can even get the protection of the castle lord. Carl yelled at the idiot. The city lord doesn't care about these little things. Carl then slipped the Jasmine up, thrown into the arms of an orc, and let him keep an eye on Jasmine. He went to lure the Tiger King away. Jasmine was thrown into the crowd. It's like a sheep in the mouth of a tiger. 5 into the wolf's mouth. The perverts lay their hands on Jasmine's body. They couldn't help but want to be injected. Also Wei Ziyuan's Carl was suddenly born to stop. Listen to it all. If I sniff someone in him. Invasion of the taste. Death heard Carl's threat. Numerous perverts were scared like retards. Stayed where I was. Tiger King, save me. Vincent slowly walked to the 3rd floor where the masters gathered. It's not a way to think about it. The position of the magnet can only be discerned by sound. At this time, Carl came out. Tiger King Vincent turned his head to look at the respected Tiger King. Are you looking for me? Jasmine killed it. If I had killed you earlier, I wouldn't have done much more. Take it to Yinqing to cut. Carl doesn't talk nonsense either. He turned around and ran inside. Vincent wanted to chase again, but he saw that the guard at the door did not stop him. If the wife is clever, there must be a demon. The king did not pursue any further. Help Jasmine hand it over. Come and find it yourself. Vincent walked in slowly. This is the center of Yinqing, although the area is not large. But there is an unusually strictness. Carl saw that Vincent was really looking. The inner plan was to mislead Vincent. Jasmine is right in the center of Yinqing. Then he put Jasmine on the 3rd floor. It's completely safe. This grandson is really bad. Carl provoked Vincent. Let Vincent search carefully. In the face of Carl's arrogant attitude, Vincent immediately rushed out, grabbed Carl by the neck. Hand over the magic. Otherwise, I'll kill you. Haha, if you have the ability, you'll kill me. Jasmine was handed over to my companion. You won't find him. Vincent was furious. He grabbed Carl's neck with both hands, lifted him up, and handed him over. I used to be Jasmine's partner. He can be more comfortable with me. If you kill me, I think of a great relationship. Vincent quickly let go of his hand. It's good to know each other. Before he could finish, Vincent immediately became a bestiality. It slapped Carl on the chest. Vincent yelled at you. You dare to threaten me. Carl continued to smile arrogantly. You can kill me, even if you find a live Jasmine. He must have been half dead by then. Ha ha ha. See Carl so arrogant. Vincent gasped. The mouth of the blood basin was opened. A bite on Carl's shoulder. Bit out a couple of holes in his shoulder. Then he turned around and said if he found Jasmine. It's Carl's death. Carl cut off, trembling slightly. I stood up. You wait for me. All this that just happened. They were all looked at by a scorpion in the hole. The perverted black scorpion grinned. The smell of blood in the air is nice. Here Carl grabbed a handful of mud and sand on the ground. With a snap, it slammed into the wound and stopped the bleeding. I'll have to come back sooner or later. In the blink of an eye, I came to a cave. The two guards were chatting. Carl Leong walked over in the direction of his appearance. Who have you been fighting with lately? Faced with inquiries from guards, Carl didn't pay any attention, and Carl thought of it. Heal your injuries as soon as possible. Only in this graveyard, to be able to spend it safely. After that, he jumped into the pit without hesitation. Such a strange move. The two guards were also at a loss. He didn't want to live anymore. Oops, forget it, leave him alone. Dying in there has nothing to do with the two of us. It's good to do your own thing. Bai Qingqing watched as the city wall was repaired. Jasmine has not been rescued. Very worried. Half a month has passed, and you haven't found it yet. Parker doing a manicure on Bai Qingqing's toenails. Because it's too focused. Lifted Bai Qingqing's legs up at once. Bai Qingqing is weightless. I accidentally fell off the stool. It fell to the ground with a snap. Parker, what are you doing? I'm sorry. I didn't expect you to flip the night platform. It's almost finished. Bai Qingqing said that he did not want to continue. He's a little annoyed right now. Have fun. I saw Parker squeamish on the market. I can't stand it anymore. Then he expressed his worries. Speaking of if Jasmine was still alive. What happens when you have a child with a rootless beast? Can you get pregnant? Parker shook his head. He hadn't seen it either. It was Curtis who proposed. Let Bai Qingqing come over and dry the size. Then he used the snake's tail to roll Bai Qingqing over. Stared at the flesh in front of Bai Qingqing's ribs. Said to be fat again. I'll measure it again. It seems to be a little bigger. Maybe it's because I'm pregnant. Curtis asked Bai Qingqing whether to make a dress or a two-piece set this time. Let's make a dress. Looser. You can wear it when you want to be thin. I can wear it even when I'm pregnant. Curtis thought for a moment. Cut on both sides of the waist. The step position is tied with a thin strap. Here's such a description. Bai Qingqing felt so exposed. Forget it. Curtis only then spoken. He was just joking. Then it cooled down seriously. After that, I started making clothes. Bai Qingqing, who holds a grudge. Think of the last time Curtis molted. Trick him in the hole. At this time, he also wanted to take revenge. And told Curtis. And make his garments into flowers. Bai Qingqing then described it to Curtis. How to use the folds of the cloth. Make some flowers. Chris wanted to hold on to Bai Qingqing's sword. Speaking of worrying that his skin will be strangled. Bai Qingqing was a little itchy by Curtis. Grinning and dodging. This made Curtis very uncomfortable. You're hiding from me? Aren't you? I just feel itchy. Haha, lied to you. The two of them started to fight like no one else. Curtis said to Bai Qingqing seriously. He has been married to Bai Qingqing for 2 years. It is also known that females are more delicate. He was afraid that it would be just lace for Bai Qingqing to be injured. Won't hurt me. Then I thought about it and forgot it. I think it's too embarrassing, Curtis. Still, Curtis proposed. You can give it a try according to what Bai Qingqing said just now. Bai Qingqing just wanted to refuse. It was used by Curtis with a snake's tail. He pushed over to Parker. Parker sees Curtis sending Bai Qingqing away. Came over and pounced on Qingqing. I'll comb your hair. Thinking that my long hair is taken care of. Bai Qingqing is also happy to be idle. Because of the technologist. Bring back his backpack from Wanshou City. Now he won't be allowed to cut his hair. Bai Qingqing looked at the inside of the backpack. Former and present items. I was very pleased. I took out my phone and wanted to see it. It turned out to be out of power. How much battery do you have on your phone? Hurry up and recharge. Go to bed early. One day, I knew to take a look at Bai Qingqing. After looking at Bai Qingqing took out the mirror again. Wow. It's still complete. My face still looks like a girl. Thinking that his face is still as beautiful as a flower. Bai Qingqing thought, it's definitely the role of the green whale. In order to keep him young forever. After a moment of joy in my heart, I woke up Curtis. It was discovered that Curtis had made the lace. In order not to make Curtis proud, Bai Qingqing deliberately didn't scream. Well done. You can wrap the perimeter of this skirt around. It's good to see Curtis so good-tempered. Bai Qingqing was embarrassed to bully her anymore. Took the clothes that Curtis had made. Bai Qingqing still couldn't help it. He cried out happily. Finger-wide flat straps with lace are not just shoulder straps. The lace of the chest is just right too. The waist is also cinched under the chest. Very slim. This costume is very creative. It's sure to set off a fashion trend for this autumn and summer. And the designer of this dress. What's even more unexpected is that a large longworm, Curtis's white fashion boutique, Python exclusive production. Curtis suggested that Bai Qingqing change his clothes. I'll do it myself. Bai Qingqing hurriedly put her clothes in. It turned out to be completely stuck. Bai Qingqing, who was hooded on his head, thought in his heart, haven't you already measured it? Why is it still stuck? And this position is so awkward. After Bai Qingqing and Vincent communicated in the wild, admonished Jasmine, don't tell Curtis and Parker the specifics of both of them here, and lied about the way he is. It's because I smoked the star grass and went crazy. Jasmine readily agreed. This is the honest Vincent who quits it. He said that if he did something wrong, he should be punished. He will tell them the truth. Bai Qingqing, who heard this, was very excited. Do you want to die? Will they let you go if you tell the truth? Later, the wound dehisced due to excessive agitation. Vincent wanted to take him back. At this time, Bai Qingqing grabbed Vincent's hand. It's our secret. See the secret two-word tattoo. All of a sudden, I fell in love again. I thought of the words brother of the people in my heart. Even if he was told to die immediately, he would die without regrets. See this touching scene. Jasmine shed tears of a single dog. What I thought of in my heart was so touching. If not, it's good to see the process of their communication. Chef Parker is cooking. At this time, I suddenly heard a voice from behind me. Turn your head to look. It turned out that Vincent walked over with Bai Qingqing in his arms. Parker, your barbecue is very good. Trying to distract Parker. At this time, Parker suddenly asked Qingqing, what are you doing with the leaves? Then he poked out his nose and showed off. Shout out loud that you communicated. This is Mr. by hurrying to stop Parker, who is about to have a seizure. Speaking of Parker, let's go home first. Let's talk about it when we get home. After a while, I returned to the house, but angrily talking about that dead nonsense. It's been premeditated for a long time. While I'm not paying attention, it's in the grass here. Bai Qingqing suddenly interrupted Parker and said, let Parker go boil the water. Parker saw the wounds on Bai Qingqing's body. Finally couldn't help it. Angry shouts rushed up. He went and got into a scuffle with Vincent. Bai Qingqing yelled at Parker not to fight. Help me clean my wound first. I ran out of energy. Parker hurriedly ran over and hugged Bai Qingqing. Vincent said he would immediately boil water. Parker asked what was going on with Bai Qingqing. Bai Qingqing still chose to deceive Parker at this time. Speaking of which, because of the smoking of 1,000 herbs. It's going to be like this. Parker was shocked when he heard this. The first blooming celestial vanilla is very powerful. I didn't dare to take him there. In the face of Parker's questioning, Bai Qingqing was a little weak-hearted. Unexpectedly, Parker said that he would change places next time. There are so many empty tree holes in the house. It seems that Parker does not reject Vincent. Bai Qingqing was also very surprised. That's when Curtis returned. I saw the injured Bai Qingqing. Curtis was also very angry and shocked. All of a sudden, All three people in the room tensed. Bai Qingqing was stuck in his head. It's very uncomfortable. It turned out to be Parker playing tricks. That's when Curtis grabbed Parker. Shout out loud, you dead leopard. Bai Qingqing is worried that Curtis is going to kill Parker. Shout it out, Curtis. What are you going to do? Bai Qingqing was worried about Curtis. Throw Parker off the 5th floor with a snake's tail. And reminded that this is on the 5th floor, not on the 2nd floor. He's going to fall to his death. Curtis came back to his senses, comforted by Qingqing, and said it was okay. He hung on a tree. Does it hurt? I've seen it. Then he gently and carefully helped Bai Qingqing. I put on my clothes. After putting it on, Bai looked at the clothes on his body with light delight. The more I watched, the happier I became. The more I watched, the more delighted I became. The only thing that made him feel a little reverse earbud was panic in the chest. But Chris said in hindsight, I told you to wear it for you. I won't let you wear it. Watch you make such beautiful clothes for me. I'll forgive you. If you like it, it's fine. Bai Qingqing asked. He didn't tell Curtis to tighten up here in his chest. I was very surprised how Curtis came up with it. Curtis explained that every time he saw Bai Qingqing breastfeeding, the shoulder straps are all pulled up half of the body's light. That's why I've always wanted to tie this up with something. Looks like it's working well. Think of Curtis's attentiveness. Bai Qingqing was slightly moved. Bai Qingqing, who was immersed in the joy of new clothes. Suddenly, I heard a shouting from behind me. Seeing Parker didn't seem to be a big deal. Bai Qingqing also breathed a sigh of relief. After a while, Parker climbed up with a bowl. Speaking of which, I went to help Bai Qingqing find medicine just now. It's to make up for the white green he injured Bai Qingqing just now. After helping him find the medicine, flattered Bai Qingqing vigorously, Bai Qingqing said that it was not so exaggerated. Don't be so nervous. Then he undressed. Show Parker his wounds. I didn't know that the clothes had just been opened. Bai Qingqing was suddenly taken aback. Oh my God, it's swollen. See Kashiwa. The front of Qingqing's ribs is swollen. Parker suggested rushing to the drug. The good ones will be faster. Here, Bai Qingqing is preparing to take medicine. I saw the little cubs wandering around the house. Offered to let Parker take them out for a while. Speaking of Vincent, I chose a place to make a house. I don't know how it is now. I suggest that everyone go and have a look. You can also let the cubs practice running. After a while, a family of 6 came to the new house. New houses that have not yet been built have been issued to scale. Bai Qingqing was shocked by the masterpiece in front of him. The little demon boys are also very happy when they come to the wild, running all the way. But they didn't notice the beasts of the jungle. Hey, what a wild beast. Bai Qingqing is worried about the safety of Xiao Yaozai. Parker yelled too. The little boys stopped. I got off the square and came to a sudden break. Parker turned to Pak Ching. Ching said that there is no need to worry about it now, because it's too hot. The tan Bai Qingqing felt some pain in his skin. Curtis hugged Bai Qingqing and said, let's go inside. On a hot summer day. There's Curtis, the icy worm. It's as cool as hugging a mobile refrigerator. Walking into the house, Bai Qingqing continued to sigh, wow. It's so big inside. Let's get more than 500 bottles. Then lay in Curtis's arms. A pleasant breeze blows. Little friend, let's run over with the dada. Each has food in his mouth. Bring it to their mom. Bai Qingqing comforted the little medicine boys that they were not hungry. Let them eat it themselves first. After getting permission, the little medicine boys squatted happily on the ground. I ate it with a whoosh. That's when it happened. The crowd heard a tragic cry. Parker said the name came from Edgar. Shiro gently wondered what Edgar was doing. I'm afraid it could be explained that after he fought Carl, he loses the ability to sense his partner. Every day, he sat at the gate of the city and waited. Hear the story of a loving home. All of a sudden, I thought of Jasmine again. Bai Qingqing fell into worry and sadness again. After a while, Several people were ready to discuss going home. Vincent and Greenfur stood at the head of Yinqing. Still haven't found Jasmine. Vincent proposes to go directly to Fort West. This proposal shocked Greenhair. But then it's still resolute. Ran resolutely followed the Tiger King in. The big scorpion sits on a chair. Said to Vincent and the others, "It's been more than half a month since I came to Yinqing. Finally, I couldn't bear to come to me. Yinqing is not there any other entrance. That's right, the orcs at the top of this place know it. It's just that no one told you. Think of this tattoo. Worried about being bitten on Carl. It's possible that Jasmine has been taken away. Then I regretted it very much. The injured Carl should not have been let go in the first place. But now it's important to save people. Vincent's main purpose now. It's about finding Jasmine." He immediately asked where the Scorpion King passage was. The Scorpion King saw Vincent's rudeness. I was also slightly upset. Rhetorically asked, "Vincent, are you a rootless beast? I didn't doubt seeing you stay in Yinqing before. Now it doesn't look credible. You're here to save the females." Vincent was not afraid to say that you are afraid of me. It's okay to be afraid, ha ha ha, to tell you. The place where the defeated orcs go is the entrance. Vincent returned to the grave in shock. There were quite a few live beasts thrown into it. Isn't there another world down there? Looks like I guessed right. Yinqing has a stronger existence. Rank above Sven. How to enter the grave from the outside. And how to get outside. I'll tell you when you've gained my trust. If it is inconvenient to disclose, then I'll find it myself. Turn around first. Smile contemptuously and find it yourself. I've been looking for half a month, and you have to find it yourself. Anyway, I believe your reminder. Then take the green horse to the grave with him. The first king smiled evilly and left. How boring it is. Vincent and the green horse arrive at the grave. After some investigation, found underneath, in addition to bones and darkness, nothing. The green horse lamented the orcs who had been left alive. It's very pitiful. Vincent, however, kept to the point. It's not so pretentious. Remind you that it is important to find someone immediately. Carl hid in the shadows. It was discovered that Vincent had actually chased after him. I was shocked. And now he is seriously injured and can only hide. He can't be tough either. Thinking that Vincent and the others would continue to search. I've got to get out of here. On top of the grave, the orc who answered Carl dropped a rope. Pull me up. The living orcs who were thrown down found it. People are able to leave from here. They yelled that someone had gone out and helped me. I'm going to go too. Help me. The persistence of living and the longing for life. Let the numerous orcs pile up into a small mountain. Everyone wants to hold on to the last rope of life. The ruthless Carl worries that he won't be able to get up, so he stretched out his fox claws. Clicked the rope a little. One knife is broken in two, and one claw is broken in two. The orc holding the tail of the rope expressed it. Fell to the ground. After a while, Carl walked out of the grave. The hard orc asked how Carl's injury was. Almost. There were no such serious injuries. It's nice to be free for a while. Carl returned to the stone with the hard orcs. The perverts asked, "Did Carl get rid of the white tiger?" Carl ignored it at first. Walked up to Jasmine's side and showed off the show. We all know what he's doing it for. They all explained that Carl was the strongest of them. He disagreed. No one will touch Jasmine. Carl looked at Jasmine's haggard appearance, turning to question the other orcs. He hadn't eaten in the past few days. The pervert responds that he is a picky eater. Hungry for a few days, he will be obedient. Isn't that what you said yourself? Carl thought to himself, if Jasmine didn't eat. How did he torture him? How did he succeed in his own treacherous schemes? But the thought of torturing Jasmine. But I couldn't be happy. There is even some distress. Carl, who gradually became tender, immediately put the idea behind me. At this time, the other beast men. It was also discovered that something was wrong with Carl. Smelled a heavy corpse smell on Carl's body. Zieleman was overjoyed to think that he had been seriously injured. Most likely, Carl felt a chill in his back. The perverts behind him all released a slight pressure. There are so many bad guys to think of here. For a drop of water, you can fight to the death. Not to mention such a beautiful one. The female then decides. Let's talk about it first when Jasmine leaves here. If they find out that they are not opponents, Jasmine is miserable. Carl said with a pretense of composure. I'm going to take him out. Where to go? Don't go. Searching for the dead, Carl immediately released a slight pressure. This surprised the other perverts. How to listen to the sound does not sound like a checkmate beast. But there's a lot of moisture on his body. That is the smell of corpses. The people were instigated at once. Then he walked over and patted Carl on the shoulder. We're just asking. I don't know when he filmed. It hit Carl right in the shoulder. Finally exposed the wound in front of everyone. The perverts don't pretend anymore. All of them reveal their true nature. Hee. Really seriously injured. Kill him, this beautiful female, and we'll enjoy it. Seeing that the situation is very critical, Carl also made a decision. Swear from the bottom of your heart. Be sure to escape from here with your magic. All the people have revealed their true hearts. Transformed into a beast form to fight Carl to the death. Carl was badly wounded. But 2 fists are hard to beat 4 hands. 6 hands multi-handed. 3 or 2 times were pressed to the ground by other cowards. At this critical moment, Carl shines with his bestial nature. Kick Jasmine out. Do your best. Use your best strength. Kick Jasmine far away. Get out of here. Jasmine got kicked. Roll outside the house. The ceiling also grasped the key point and grasped the magnetism. Pressed to the ground and dying Carl. Shouted loudly, I let you go. Jasmine, who heard this. It was as if in his heart he had actually forgiven Carl. Carl has been redeemed in this moment. Seeing that Jasmine was about to be held down by the orcs and injected. Suddenly, there was a loud shout in the sky. The green hare did not step on the colorful, auspicious clouds. He himself had wings and flew over. Grabbed Jasmine. Shamefully flew into the sky. The 2 perverts in the underground pounced. Tattoos in the distance sea green fur rescuing Jasmine. The stone in my heart was finally put down. Finally smiled. At this time, Vincent smelled a strong smell of blood. 2 steps forward. Suddenly, there was a click on his feet. Threw out a tiger leg. Vincent crouched down, sticking out his nose and showing off. The lion in the house meets Sven's tiger beast. Then lower your head and smell the corpse of the tiger beast. Suddenly a horse in my heart. Speaking of which, females are not with us. Snatched away by fear. Vincent knew that the tiger leg was Carl's. After sighing, the Fox King didn't do anything. Silently walked away. The lion grabbed Carl's leg. Rustling and sand entered. Jasmine's green hair flew vigorously in the sky. I'm worried that Jasmine will be too hot because of the weather. Can't stand it in the desert. Greenfur quickly stopped. Hold Jasmine in your arms and cool him down. You have to find a cool place to dissipate heat. You can only travel at night. Just like that, the green hair with Jasmine. Day and night, they rushed in the direction of the tribe. Seeing Jasmine's breathing getting weaker and weaker. The green fur also quickened his pace more and more. Quickened up the wings and hurried to play soon after. A beautiful arc crossed the sky. Quack, quack, quack. The green gate finally returns to the tribe with Jasmine. On the city wall, there is still a lucky tiger sitting all the time. This is Edgar. Green Gate also discovers Edgar. After quacking twice, it was considered a greeting. Your mother-in-law is on my back. Edgar smelled Jasmine. I was very pleased. Jasmine post. Let's do it. Clicked in the direction of the green hair. Heavenly love quacks. The beasts of the earth roared and shone together. The reflection makes for a wonderful picture. The tiger said, drop it quickly, drop it down quickly. After the green fur heard, slipping his wings and dropping Jasmine off. Edgar grabbed Jasmine. It was as if his soul had returned to his body. Holding Jasmine and crying, my whole body trembled. After Edgar comes into contact with Jasmine, immersed in sadness, the green fur in the sky quickly changed into a human form. Fall to the ground. Hurry up and remind Edgar to give Jasmine some water. After Edgar agreed, holding Jasmine, I went to the river. Here that Jasmine was rescued. The whole tribe went crazy. Parker was also very happy, because after Bai Qingqing heard the news, I'm sure I'm going to be very happy. Sure enough, Parker rushed to the cave. Tell Bai Qingqing the good news. Bai Qingqing's excited bowl was almost given to Chui. Forthwith, immediately asked Parker to take him over to CMO. Lee. After a while, the two of them came to Ed's house under the tree. I saw a lot of orcs gathered under the tree, and the green fur was still sitting by the tree. Bai Qingqing asked Green Fur why he didn't go in. The green door seems to be like a white planet showing its heart. Said that I am not his male either. Go in and grab the nest. It's not that the male saved the female. Can you be his partner? He nodded happily. Yes. Inner Mongolia. A little disappointed, but what I like is you. It wasn't he who knocked over the jar of vinegar. Immediately angry. I can't beat it right away. I can only hide in the tree pitifully and can't go down. Parker Alma is definitely tired right now. You're still scary. Parker immediately picked up Bai Qingqing at this time. Say, I'll take you upstairs. Wrap your arms around my neck. Well, Bai Qingqing saw Jasmine fainting. Very worried, the child grabbed Jasmine's hand between them, crying helplessly. I brought him broth. Feed him. Replenish some stamina. Thank you. Edgar carefully blew the broth cold, slowly passed the broth to Jasmine's mouth. I saw Jasmine grunt and drink it. Jasmine can still eat when he sees it. The people were very happy. As long as you can eat, you can live. After a while, Jasmine opened her eyes. Bai gently patted Edgar awake. Jasmine, she woke up. Edgar was also very pleased. Leaned over to Jasmine. You woke up. It's good for you to come back. It's okay. Don't worry about being scared anymore. Seeing this touching scene, Bai Qingqing also shed tears involuntarily. It's just wonderful. Jasmine, for the rest of her life, after the catastrophe, had mixed feelings. I can finally cry loudly and uncontrollably. Hugged Ide's house and cried out. Don't cry. Everybody's here. No one is going to hurt you anymore. Jasmine cried out loudly that he really knew he was wrong. Bai Qingqing said that it was Carl's fault. He's forcing you to be so miserable. Jasmine Whaler said. Carl died. Hear the news that Carl is dead. Bai Qingqing was shocked. Jasmine said after being rescued. Carl seems to want to help him before he dies. It's still at a critical moment. Kick yourself out of the fire pit. Although the kick was useless. If it weren't for Alva, he's still going to get caught. And speaking of bears, maybe never really hate them. Beloved, it was only because of myself at the beginning. Carl was hurt too deeply. When I saw Jasmine, I suddenly seemed to have grown a lot. I was also very distressed. Jasmine raised her head and said to the home of love, I will not fail you in the home of love. Love is also moved to tears when I come home. I will also be good to you for the rest of my life. It's good to see Jasmine. The two were making exceptions. Bai Qingqing is also reluctant to be a light bulb anymore. Took Parker back with him. I sighed as I got up and went back. Fortunately, course was not rejected in the first place. Didn't throw him away. Then I thought that I was still making things difficult for him before. Bai Qingqing sighed. After that, I won't make it difficult for him. Just as the two of them were about to go out, Bai Qingqing saw the green hair hiding behind the tree again. Green hair, you're still here. Don't worry, he's awake. Hear Jasmine wake up. Green hair also often breathes. Bai Qingqing then asked, why didn't Vincent come back with you? I forgot that Ritzaman woke up suddenly. At that time, Jasmine was too anxious. I couldn't take care of Vincent for a while. Bai Qingqing snickered on the side. He also said that he didn't like Jasmine. By the way, do you think Jasmine Vincent knows? He's not going to be out there. Alva looked down and thought about it. That's when he left Jasmine. Many were seen. Vincent must be among them. Bai Qingqing was a little unhappy to hear this. In other words, if you can't go back, you have to go home. He won't be back for a few days. You go to him. Got it? Then, Bai Qingqing cared about the haggard green hair. Worried that he hadn't eaten. There's no need to guard Jasmine here. It's not that fast to keep it. The green hairs hurriedly expressed their determination and said whom? Who said I was guarding Jasmine here? I'm just tired and resting. I've rested. I'm not tired, goodbye. Look at the duplicitous green hair. Bai Qingqing was also speechless for a while. But I saw the back of the green hair far away. It's good to sigh that you can fly. Parker, who didn't admit defeat, proposed at this point. He can also fly. Then he immediately grabbed Bai Qingqing's waist. The whoosh is about to rush down. Bai Qingqing told Parker to be careful. Parker said excitedly, is it a big deal to die together? Then put your hands down. A bounce. Just hug Bai Qingqing. Jump down from the top of the tree hole. Parker hugged Bai Qingqing. Jumped down from the top of the tree hole. Landing safely. Bai Qingqing was trembling with fright. Parker was very excited and said how it was. Isn't it faster than flying? Bai Qingqing reproached Parker. Speaking of which, he would hurt the child like this. Females are inherently delicate. The females of the orc world are not because they are too weak. It's because the males are so rude and kill the females. Know what's wrong. Will you jump next time? I know wrong. I won't jump next time. Don't look for flying males. I finally understood when I heard this and bought a light gun. Parker was jealous. To make such a dangerous move. Then he comforted Parker and said that he was thinking too much. Parker went on to say, I just think, in the future, the tribe will be strong. The first to join should be the British. The British can fly much faster than the peacock. I'm afraid you'll accept the British. Shiro sighed softly. Comforting Parker, said, if there are other males pursuing him in the future, a few of his husbands can go and intimidate him. Then Parker was coaxed into happiness and said yes. The next time I see one beating the other, the two returned home. I saw Curtis still making clothes. What a good daughter-in-law. See Curtis's skin that he has withdrawn this time. Have been turned into a lot of clothes? Bai Qingqing was even more happy. I finally have new clothes to wear. Then the sticking formula for Curtis was launched. The coquettish who pestered Curtis. Soon after, the orcs find out that the Tiger King Vincent has returned. The first thing Vincent did when he came back was to ask. Greenhair didn't come back with Jasmine. Little Cromie said that he had returned 5 days ago. However, the flying beast is much faster than the landwalker. It takes a distance of 10 days. The Tiger King was gone in 5 days. I was very surprised. Vincent just wanted to explain. Little Cromie patted her head and said, oops. The Tiger King is a hard-working orc. Speed and endurance go hand in hand. You're still a 4-way beast. It is normal to walk in 5 days after a 10-day journey. Hey, Tiger King, are you going home? I saw the Tiger King passing by the door and did not enter. Got to work right away. The two little calamiris showed their fan sisters. The look on the face of the fan, seeing that the Tiger King is so conscientious in his administration. In the meantime, many more strong British men joined the tribe. This slowly made the tribe stronger. Then they followed the Tiger King tattoo. There is nothing wrong with specifying. Look at these patrolling eagles. There was a sense of déjà vu. It's like Wansho City back then, but under the leadership of the Tiger King. The orcs are confident that they can build one. A tribe more powerful than Wansho City. 1234 change position 2234 again. Because of the humanoid child born this time. requires more stamina. You have to make your body stronger. For smooth production, Bai Qingqing and Parker started exercising together. After the exercise is over, Parker was lying on the ground, tired. Bai Qingqing proposed to soak in the water, but he stood up and spat out the sand in his mouth. Blah, blah, blah. Bai Qingqing said, You phew. I just got my tongue in the dust. Parker then proposes to take Bai Qingqing to take a shower. I really don't need to use it to walk on my own. I'd better exercise it. Came to the edge of the puddle. I found that the water level had dropped quite a bit. Parker helped Bai Qing to slowly descend into the water. The water has turned lukewarm. Do you want to soak it too? Parker let Bai Qingqing soak first. He was going to build a shed for Bai Qingqing. If you're tired, you can go in and rest. The following is a set of bathroom photos of Bai Qingqing. Bath pit photo. Wash and wash. Bai Qingqing thought, if only I could brush my teeth. I don't know if the blue hair is there. Are you in the blue hair? There was no response to the live exchange. I don't know what Blue Fur is doing. At this time, Parker in the distance suddenly rushed over. Hey, you got into the water. Parker was not found afterward. At this time, Parker lifted Bai Qingqing's skirt, poked his head in, got into the bottom of the group of hooligans. After a while, Parker poked his head out and said, Your stomach is so comfortable. Then he said, Just now I heard Bai Qingqing say that he was looking for clean fish. He can go and find it. Then he dived into the water. After a while, he found a cave and got into it. Bai Qingqing is on the water, quietly waiting for Parker to return. Bai Qingqing bathed in the water. There were a lot of bubbles floating on the surface of the water. Parker popped out of the water, said happily to Bai Qingqing, Found a lot of clean fish. Then pop the bubbles. Put the clean fish on the surface of the water. Bai Qingqing was very happy. Little silverfish at this time. Parker beckoned to the silverfish. Go to Bai Qingqing's side. Be gentle. Don't hurt them. Bai Qingqing thought that it would be. The little fish would come and kiss his right foot. Who would have thought that the little fish would suddenly change direction? Swam to Parker's side. Seeing this, Parker hurriedly pounced on Bai Qingqing. The little fish followed Parker. Came to Bai Qingqing's side. There is a difference between white and green. Why didn't the little fish follow Parker, but come to him? I think it's because Parker is so dirty, so the small fish can be found on him. More food. I heard Bai Qingqing say that she was dirty. Parker was very aggrieved, turned into a beast form, lying in the water and crying. The little fish didn't pay any attention, still gnawing on Parker's body. After a while, the small fish suddenly turned around. Mr. Bai turned his head to look and quickly called Parker. Let him stop the fish. Don't let the small fish get eaten by the big fish. Parker quickly turned into a human form and stopped the fish. With Lanzer's bubbles, packed the little fish up again. Basket gold back from hunting. I saw Bai Qingqing playing in her own home. Very happy. The antlers of a dead deer shouted loudly. Blue and blue hair. After Bai Qingqing came to the shore, I was amazed at how fast the blue fur was. I actually chased the fawn. Blue fur said he hadn't run it. Just found a way to hunt. Hide yourself in the water and wait. Wait until the prey comes to the door on its own. There are countless prey every day. Eat whatever you want. White, green, blue differences. The blue fur is going to be purified into a crocodile. Blue fur proudly patted his prey. Say to Parker, you tell Chris. I can now hunt on land. Qualified to be Bai Qingqing's partner. You don't want to. Parker turned into a beast and rushed towards blue fur. Poof, pulled the blue fur into the water. Hey, when you get to the water, it's the home of the blue hair. When the two are about to make a big fight, Bai Qingqing suddenly shouted the decree of birth. Don't fight anymore. Hit me again and get angry. Humpike came over and helped me wash my hair. Blue Gate suggested that I also wash Qingqing's hair. The words are not finished yet. I saw the Tiger King coming not far away. I'd better slip away first. Bai Qingqing turned his head and saw Vincent. I'll come back and have a saliva. Qingqing watched Vincent work under the sun all the time. Said softly to Vincent, let him go upstream and drink some water. After drinking, go home with him. Vincent heard the words. The tail wags more happily than a puppy. Then beckoned Vincent to hurry back. Vincent ran over and took a sip of water. With a bang, he ran back to Qingqing. I am back. I'm just late to come back. Let's go home. Bai Qingqing started work around the center, holding a husband in one hand, walked back home and prepared to enter the hole. Vincent then suggested that he still have to work. That's really exhausting you. Bai Qingqing turned around and took Vincent's hand, said that he was not allowed to go, and instructed Vincent to let him go to work in the evening. But Vincent's mind was on his mind. He wanted to be able to accompany Bai Qingqing at night. It doesn't matter how bad the environment is during the day, Bai Qingqing said as if threatening. Can't go out again today. After going out, there was no food to eat at night. It was the first time Vincent had seen Bai Qingqing like this. I was very happy. In the end, it was obedient according to Bai Qingqing's statement. Not going any more today. White green happily talked and laughed with her two husbands. In the distance, Jasmine came over and shouted loudly. The green fur from heaven also rushed over. Cuckoo. Gugu drops a bomb under him with precision. Throw a bunch of fruit onto Jasmine's head. Jasmine was slightly annoyed. Look up and shout at home. I saw that it was the green hair that turned into a human form. Slowly landed on the ground with green hair. Jasmine asked green fur expectantly. Was it the green hair's self-smashed just now? The green fur covered his mouth at this time. Said in a slurred. Those fruits were prepared for Bai Qingqing. If you hit Jasmine, let him make amends as a gift. What Jasmine heard was a gift of reparation for my sins. Said immediately. He searched for a long time before he found the all-red fruit. It's definitely sweet. Let Jasmine taste it. Jasmine picked up the fruit, while struggling with his mind and his heart. Now the idea is much more mature. He thought. He couldn't change any of the males. Bear's love is so stubborn. Both Blue Hair and Carl are the best proof of this. He won't force the green fur anymore. And pile up your own green hair. It doesn't seem to have the same throbbing as before. Then Jasmine lifted the fruit and was very calm. Said to the green hair, you saved me. I don't blame you for hitting me. This surprised the green hair. Is this fruit not tasty? Why refuse? I saw Edgar clearly. Is this the kind of fruit you picked? Didn't Edgar give it to Jasmine? He ate it himself. The green hairs who were in doubt. Woken up by Jasmine's call. Green-haired, I'm about to go find Bai Qingqing. Why don't I give it to you for you? I'll go first. Jasmine then found Bai Qingqing. I heard my best friend running over. Bai Qingqing was also very happy. Jasmine, are your injuries healed? It's not quite good. It's good enough to eat a cow. Ha 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 ha. Seeing Jasmine's state return to normal, Bai Qingqing smiled very happily. Jasmine asked Bai Qingqing what he was doing with those words. Bai Qingqing said that it was brought to eat. Jasmine said that suddenly she wanted to eat it herself. It's a pity that his bear went hunting. Wanted to make the white-green male, teach his males to make food, and take the fruit that the green hair has just picked. It was given to Bai Qingqing as tuition. Bai Qingqing took a bite of the fruit. Sweet Jasmine says it was given to him by Alva. He saw him halfway. By the way, I brought him over. Bai Qingqing heard the name of the green hair. I threw it out as soon as I pounced, huh? Who's it? You're sure he gave it to me? The green hair gave it? He said it was for you. It's delicious if you don't look at it. Can you give me one too? Bai Qingqing sighed. Then he pretended to be arrogant and said this. I'll have to think about it. Jasmine called Bai Qingqing's name aggrievedly. Okay, teasing you. Actually, I saw it a long time ago. The last two laughed like fools. Ha! Jasmine picked up the fruit and ate it to her heart's content. Ate delicious. A beautiful horse in the heart of the fruit. It's like sweet love. See Jasmine now. Not much seems to have changed. White, green, green. The worries about Jasmine were completely put down. Reaching out and stroking Jasmine's head. It's like a big sister taking care of a little sister. Eat more if it's delicious. It's all yours. Jasmine and Bai Qingqing happily ate the fruit. At this time, Bai Qingqing persuaded Jasmine. Able to go one step further with Alva. Jasmine refused. It is said that this fruit was given to Bai Qingqing. Bai Qingqing gently tapped Jasmine's head. The screen head is about to be given to me. When you come in person, his wings weren't faster than your legs. At this time, Jasmine reacted. What do you mean? Bai Qingqing is like uncovering the mystery. Said to Jasmine. This fruit was given to Jasmine by Green Fur. Green-haired wings are so fast. It's definitely a lot faster than a person's legs. Jasmine said worriedly. Recently, there was a two-headed question. The beast is pursuing itself, and the hero is much stronger than the green hair. Bai Qingqing heard this also, a burst of foul language. I used to think that green hair was a face control. Half-heartedly is not like a good person. This Jasmine is also half a catty and 8 tails when it is tied up. Then, suddenly, there was a whining sound in the distance. The crowd looked in the direction from which the voice came. Bai Qingqing asked, Isn't it that the troops exchanged outside are back? Vincent responded, The mood is slightly lost. It's hard to be able to get along with Bai Qingqing. Stay together quietly. It was messed up again. Then Vincent told Bai Qingqing to pay attention to one hole. He turned into a bestiality and ran away. In a short time, Vincent was armed with a large number of orcs. Walked into the tribe. This time the numerous orcs brought back 17 females. Now the tribe is lively. And at this time, Bai Qingqing discovered something terrible. There is a leopard in the herd. Then he called Parker. Don't sleep. Come on, there's a leopard over there. It's the one in the middle of the line. He'll want to see it. A leopard in the herd. Suddenly in the direction of Bai Qingqing. Whoosh, and looked over. See bitch, leopard so behaved. Bai Qingqing was very surprised. Why are you still laughing at me? At this time, the leopard headed towards Bai Qingqing and Jasmine. Rushed over. He let out a whooping sound as he ran. This scared Bai Qingqing and Jasmine to death. Parker explained out loud that there was no need to be afraid. This is Harvey. Harvey Leopard rushed forward. All of a sudden, he took on a human form. Oh, it turned out to be Harvey, with no clothes on. Harvey greeted Harvey warmly. Why are you here? You're welcome. It's just that you can't, Parker. Hurry up and put the skirt on him. He looked at other people's naked bodies and spoke. It's a bit embarrassing. Parker brought Harvey a leather skirt to put on. Harvey lamented that he had been naked for so long. It's a little hard to get used to putting on clothes all of a sudden. Bai Qingqing had a chill. You better get used to it earlier. The young lady said that Harvey came late. Maybe you didn't move your own to dig one first. It's okay, ha ha ha. At this time, Jasmine pulled the group of Bai Qingqing. Bai asked Qingqing in a low voice. Is that your suitor? It's so handsome. Bai Qingqing Xiaoxing's response said goodbye to guessing. That's a veterinarian. It's amazing. At this time, Harvey's eyes suddenly lit up. Approached, squatting on the ground and smelling Jasmine. Jasmine was suddenly a little scared of what you were doing. Bai Qingqing was also very puzzled. Turning to Parker, he asked. Parker spoke out to comfort him. Harvey said to Jasmine, I didn't smell him right now. What happened to me? You got cubs too. Hearing Harvey's words, he changed his face for 3 faces. Confused. Abby says Jasmine may be pregnant with a cub. Jasmine felt inexplicable. It's been almost 2 months since I was in heat. If you have a cub, your belly will already be big. Parker followed Jasmine's words and said yes. Abby made a judgment on this matter. It is possible that the one who is pregnant is a female. Hearing the news, Mr. Bai was even more pleased. Now you can conceive a child with your girlfriend. And Jasmine's heart was thinking, the baby in her belly must be Carl's. Through your own calculations, Edgar may have missed his estrus this time. This child can't be his. Speaking of which, Jasmine quickly got up and said that she would go back first. Bai Qingqing was puzzled. Shouldn't you be happy when you're pregnant with a child? Could it be that the word is Carl's? Parker nodded. It was fate. Think of what Carl didn't get during his lifetime. Since then, they have all had the understanding of their partners. Precious offspring. Thinking of this, Bai Qingqing couldn't help but feel sad. Parker reassured that everything would be fine. At this time, Harvey looked at the little cubs next to him. Asked, "Is this your cub? You'll have cubs again." Well, Bai Qingqing turned her head to see what kind of tone this was. I saw that the little boys pounced towards Bai Qingqing. Mother Bai Qingqing hugged the little leopard. The little leopard is sprinkling in Bai Qingqing's arms, rubbing around. Sure enough, it's a cub for the two of you. Let's look cute. It's cute, but it doesn't look big. Why is your belly so round again? Bai Qingqing broke out in a cold sweat. It turns out that this guy is connotating that he will give birth. But I didn't expect that the point of what Harvey said was not here. He immediately asked, "It must be hard to be a mother." No, it's not hard, it's not hard. Bai Qingqing sweated in his heart. It's really a gentleman's belly with the heart of a villain. Harvey then asked how long she had been pregnant. It should have been 5 or 6 months. We don't know exactly when. I don't know what that means. Parker doesn't know either. Parker drips the little cub in Bai Qingqing's arms away. Harvey said, "Show it to Qingqing. How are our grapefruit growing?" Harvey said as he reached out and touched his stomach. It should have been 5 months. Bai Qingqing ji, what if it's 6 months? Rather than thinking in my heart that if it was 6 months, we'll be able to match Vincent's time. They shook their heads, said that the child was a little small. He also asked if he had felt any fetal movements. Bai asked rhetorically, "How long does it take for the word boy to show signs of fetal movement?" Harvey suddenly turned up the volume. Shocked asked, "The word boy still hasn't reacted." Harvey's performance scared the orangutans as well. Harvey then explained, "At 4 months, there should be fetal movements. I haven't had any movement for 6 months now. There will be no problems when." Harvey leaned close to Bai Qingqing's stomach and listened. Parker and Bai Qingqing, who were waiting for the results. They all trembled nervously. Swallowed. Harvey checked Bai Qingqing's body. Speaking of the child he is carrying, he may be relatively weak. This can explain Bai Qingqing. Why didn't it feel it? The fetal movement then persuaded Bai Qingqing not to worry. He would go and pick some herbs that would benefit the fetus. Parker offered to go with Harvey and let Bai Qingqing go home first. White, green, green. On the way home, I was worried about my children. Nervously walked to the road, slowly moving forward with the big tree all the way. I also blame myself in my heart. At this time, Vincent found Bai Qingqing in front. He stepped forward and asked, "Are you feeling well?" After seeing Vincent, Bai Qingqing pounced. He fell into Vincent's arms and cried. "Well, Wei said that the child is very weak. What you were the first to communicate with me. If the child is you, the situation may be worse." Vincent reassured, "This child doesn't have to be his own. The two of them have only communicated once. And after Bai Qingqing came back, and Curtis, and Parker has spoken many times. So the child is more likely to be both of them." Hearing such comfort, Mr. Bai fell into deep thought. Thinking of this time he was pregnant with a cub. Other bears are rushing to get cubs. And even a cold Curtis. They are all eyeing his pregnant cub this time. Vincent, on the other hand, avoided it like a femme fatale. Why is this happening? Could it be that Vincent's body is in trouble? He should not. His children are not healthy. Suddenly, I remembered the last time they were in the meadow. When communicating, Vincent was poisoned by scorpions. Thinking of this, Bai Qingqing suddenly asked Vincent in shock, "What happened to the scorpion venom? Do you know what?" Vincent smiled and said it was already fine. Then the child will be fine, right? Hearing this, Vincent fell silent. You speak. Only then did Vincent speak. If it's a bear, don't worry. But this boy was born too weak. The words are not finished yet. Vincent's response was worried. Suddenly a rush of fire attacked. Weakness and paralysis. Vincent immediately picked up Bai Qingqing. Comforted again. It could be Parker and Curtis's child. So don't worry. The health of the cub this time. Bai Qingqing held her stomach. Said softly to the cub in her belly. Good baby. Move it and let your mother know if it's okay. Vincent picked up Bai Qingqing. I want to take Bai Qingqing to rest in the tree hole. Just walked under the tree hole. Chorus put his tail on it. I dropped it with a bang. Chorus is already waiting for you up there. Go for the tattoo. Carefully placed Bai Qingqing on the snake's tail. Curtis rolled up to Bai Qingqing. With a whoosh, it was taken upstairs. Brush it up. Pushed Bai Qingqing into his arms. Curtis reached out and put his arm around Bai Qingqing. I pinched him and kissed him in the eye. Holding Bai Qingqing's face, he comforted him and stopped crying. Bai Qingqing threw herself into Curtis's arms again. Played with him and played stickers. Parker and Harvey come back from collecting medicine. Bai Qingqing excitedly wanted to go down and take a look. Learned that it's just ordinary herbs. Bai Qingqing was slightly lost. Chorus thought to himself, if the cub makes Xiao Bai so sad all the time, he would rather not. The rivers and lakes rose and began to boil medicine. The atmosphere was a little dreary. Several people stared at the gurgling glass. Parker was worried that Bai Qingqing was hungry. Proposed to give him the following to eat. Parker's craft is not covered. It will be cooked in a few moments. But Bai Qingqing said that he had no appetite. Turning to Harvey, he asked, how long will it take for these pills to get better? Harvey also suggested that Bai Qingqing should eat something. It's good for the cubs too. Bai Qingqing still ate smallpox. Vincent came over while he was eating. At this time, Bai Qingqing asked Harvey, will scorpion venom be treated? Harvey was shocked to hear the scorpion venom. Your complexions are normal. So who was poisoned by the scorpion? And Bai Qingqing's partner's strength is not weak. Ordinary scorpions can't sting them. See Harvey's silverbose. Bai Qingqing asked, can you cure it? I can't cry out in vain. In case the kid is Vincent's. What can I do about it? Harvey wondered why this was happening. That's when Vincent explained. I see. Harvey will try to figure it out again. I know that some plants have an effect on detoxification, but the effect is not too obvious. That's please. Well, okay. Harvey then asked Parker to come along. Go find herbs. Vincent wanted to go too. This is Parker's proposal for Vincent to take care of Bai Qingqing. He and Harvey are the same race. It will also be easier to communicate. Then I serve the noodles to Bai Qingqing. You are delicious. I'll come back if you're thin. I won't give it to you below. Give you meat to eat every day. Bai Qingqing was amused. Nodding with tears in his eyes, crying and laughing. The yellow dog does not pee. He's going to pick herbs. Then next, the task of eating noodles for Bai Qingqing. It was handed over to Chris. The tattooed stone statue walked away. Chris feeds Bai Qingqing noodles. A motherly smile on her face. Chris fed him when he fed. That's an appetite. Eat a bowl of noodles. After a pause, it was like a medicine, and I drank it and drank it dry. Oh, it's so bitter, Curtis is bitter. Is it that bitter? I'll taste it. Then he stood up and kissed Bai Qingqing's mouth. Curtis tasted it. The medicinal juice hanging on Bai Qingqing's mouth. Spit it out. Wiped his mouth and said that the medicine was bitter. Just let him drink it slowly and wait until the evening. Mr. White snuggled up in Curtis's arms. Waiting for Parker, Harvey them. But few people returned. Curtis reassured that antidote has never been easy to find. Wait? Well, by noon the next day, Parker finally clicked. I came back with a bag of medicine. I quietly heard Parker and Harvey returning. I'm very excited to find it. I found 2 big pockets. Great, show me. He can quickly pull open the bag. Inside was a bag full of mung beans. Only then did Bai Qingqing think of it. Mung beans do have the effect of clearing heat and detoxifying. But eating too much is not harmful to the body. Then Hanwei reminded that after the mung beans were cooked, when it's cold, it turns black and white. Gently go on to say oxidation. Mung beans will only turn black when they are ventilated. The pot will be covered with a lid. Wei heard that Bai Qingqing actually understood this. It was shocking. Just know a little bit about the skin. You haven't rested in a long time. Let's go to the cave and take a rest. 2 husbands of their own. I heard that Bai Qingqing invited. Harvey wants to go to his cave. Inside, go to rest. Suddenly, it was like a thunderstorm in the clear sky. Suddenly remembered. Curtis and Parker release a step-by-step micropressure. Harley shivered with fear. Me. Only then did Bai Qingqing realize that he had said the wrong thing. Wei continued, not casually. Just find a place to sleep. Meet Parker. The threat of Chris and Vincent. Wei thought to himself. Just a first-class orc who didn't receive a document is not worthy of a family like Bai Qingqing. But that's when Vincent stepped up. Say you're a veterinarian. The tribe will not treat you badly. I've already prepared a place for you to stay. Thank you, please come with me, yes. Mung Bean almost forgot to give you Parker. White, green. Seeing Vincent help him out of a big crisis. This reliable back made him love Vincent even more. It's just handsome, don't want it. After Parker crushes the mung beans, pour into a boiling pot. I began to slowly make mung bean soup. It's like Bai Qingqing inviting credit. I want Bai Qingqing to praise him. As a result, Bai Qingqing stared at the pot at this time without saying a word. Parker was a little lost. Then he turned his attention to the pot. Parker was about to lift the lid of the pot. That one was stopped by Bai Qingqing. It slapped on Parker's hand. I haven't had a hand yet. Don't open the lid. At this time, Parker was even more aggrieved. I'm just going to cover it. Bai Qingqing felt a little guilty, sorry. I was in a hurry just now. I then explained to Parker, if the lid is lifted, the detoxification effect of mung beans will be weaker. And hugged Parker and continued to apologize and say sorry. I was too anxious to scare you. Parker also apologized. When it comes to himself, he won't mess around again. The two of them got tired of it for a while. Parker asked if he could open the lid now. You can open it. I'm not going to kill you anymore. Okay. Parker just opened the lid. A long-lost sweet smell poured into the nostrils. Parker took the bowl and carefully blew it off. It was sent into Bai Qingqing's mouth. Bai Qingqing took a sip. The taste is exactly the same as modern mung bean soup. Then asked Parker in surprise. This thing tastes delicious. Why don't you eat it? Parker explained that it was medicine. Who has nothing to do all day with medicine and eating and playing? Bai Qingqing said that it was a pity that this mung bean was used as medicine. I also thought I could keep some seeds. I'll grow it myself and eat it later. Parker heard that Bai Qingqing likes to eat. I immediately decided to pick some more. Parker, you're so nice. I'm not good to you, but who is good? After you have eaten and drunk to your heart's content. Bai Qingqing fell asleep with a burp against a tree on the side. Vincent and Curtis were also lying on their backs. Sleep comfortably. Like dead. Only Parker is still working hard to deal with the aftermath. Bai Qing held his stomach strongly. As he was talking, he asked the baby to give him some feedback. My stomach suddenly moved. Then he screamed for Parker to come over. The baby seems to have just moved. Really? Parker rubbed his hands nervously. Let me feel Zhu Yunqiang. There's movement again. The two of them were happy to quarrel. Caught Vincent's attention. He glanced up and pinned the tiger's head down. Continued to lie down and sleep. This scene happened to be seen by Bai Qingqing. Parker was then reminded not to be surprised. His other 2 husbands are still sleeping. That's when Parker said he didn't feel any movement. Bai Qingqing felt a little strange. Now he didn't move his arms again. When I was a boy, I was very powerful. And mentioned the 6th. I often say that I kicked him in the face. When it comes to that old six, Parker didn't bring a place with him. When she was pregnant with her child, was taken around by the sixth child, and tortured. Parker couldn't wait to tear the sixth with his hands. Bai gently persuaded everyone to be fine. Don't be angry. I only hope that Zai can be healthy and healthy. It's good to watch him grow up. Well, Zai will definitely be healthy. Definitely. At this time, Bai Qingqing's head had a flash of inspiration. Said to Parker. He seemed to think of the name of Zai. What? I wish him peace and health throughout his life. How about calling it in? Buying in? Bai Qingqing to his cubs. Came up with a nice name. It's called Baiunin. Parker said. Baiunin's name is very similar to Bai Qingqing's name. Bai Qingqing said right. It's okay with my last name. You don't seem to have a last name. It's confusing what a surname is. He had never heard of White. Bai Qingqing continued to explain that Bai was her surname. In his world, children will follow their parents' last names. The name Chris Vincent. What do you think? After that, it will be called Baiunin. Papa Papa. Bai Qingqing patted his stomach hard. And suddenly to himself, just now, reckless behavior to regret. Seeing that there was no reaction from his stomach, Bai Qingqing let out a sigh of relief. Put your mind at ease. In the future, I will boil mung bean soup for you every day, and it will definitely be fine. So, in the next period of time, Bai Qingqing has been forced to drink mung bean soup. After a week, I was on the verge of throwing up. After 2 weeks, Bai Qingqing heard that he wanted to take medicine. Quickly hid behind Curtis. The big wounded protested that I wanted to eat meat. At this time, Jasmine ran over and said that I want to eat it too. Let's see you today. Come to Jasmine. He finally had an excuse and a chance to be able to eat meat. Then he immediately turned to Parker and said, Jasmine is here to find Parker. Jasmine wants a gad to learn how to cook with Parker. I heard that he was going to do his best job. Give it to someone else to bring an apprentice. At first, Parker said no. Can't help Bai Qingqing's coquettishness. Parker agreed. Jasmine was around Parker. Jump around, jump over, and just hang around. He asked Parker all sorts of questions. Annoying. Bai Qingqing was afraid that Jasmine would him off. Quickly called Jasmine over. Chat with him. Allows Parker to focus on making dinner. It also allows a gad to learn about cooking. Then the two talked about pregnancy. Jasmine also found out since she had cubs. A guard also said he smelled different than usual. I think Jasmine may be because of the hair, affection, and the reason for communication. Bai Qingqing asked Jasmine, what are the plans for this child? Jasmine said, of course, it was born. Bai Qingqing hugged Jasmine and comforted. You can just see it. A guard learned to say he was going to go home and give it a try. Really, I'll go with you. Then Jasmine ran over to her. Went home with a gad. Watched Jasmine run. Bai Qingqing thought, Owen Young. Cubs should be as healthy as Jasmine's cubs. It's fine. Parker brought the braised pork at this time. Let Bai Qingqing eat quickly. I suddenly had no appetite and so on. And it seems to have just now. Very lively kicked me several times. Does it really mean that Aranin is very healthy? Eat meat. Eat meat. Eating meat is the only way to be nutritious. Our babies can be healthier. It's time for Bai Qingqing to feast. Blue Fur suddenly sprang out of the woods. The two who seemed to be very anxious to hear the movement. Turn your head and look. That's Blue Hair. Parker and Bai Qingqing saw in the jungle. The blue door that ran with an injury. Hurry up and chase after the blue door. Have you been chased by the beast? Ah, so serious. Parker called Harvey quickly. At this time, the blue door shouted loudly no. Not bitten by prey. It is a competitor. Then Blue Gate said. He would have been the strongest in those waters. Suddenly, one day a group of Fusho came. That is, crocodiles come to grab turf and fight. Parker interjected and said, Your uncle. There are too many of them. I couldn't get into the water at all. The blue cat immediately explained to Bai Qingqing, because he cares most about Bai Qingqing's opinion, and said that he could hunt for food. Wait until he finds a partner. Enough merfolk were born. I will definitely drive those handrails back to Laos. Bai Qingqing said that he couldn't hide if he couldn't be provoked. But Blue and White said the entire area around them was occupied. There is no place for him to settle down. I heard that the nearby waters have been taken over by crocodiles. All of a sudden, the situation became serious. Parker immediately asked rhetorically, "Impossible. How I didn't find out? If you find out, you're dead." Parker was trying to get angry. Was immediately pulled by Bai Qingqing. Speaking of the fact that there is so much radiation in the vicinity. Tell Vincent again. Let him inform all the people of the tribe. Avoid being bitten by crocodiles near the water. Parker was about to tell Vincent. Bai Qingqing immediately grabbed Parker. Crocodiles are too harmful. He was afraid that Parker wouldn't be able to kill them. You go and call Vincent. It's good for two people to take care of each other together. I don't need him to be the Tiger King to check it out, okay? In the blink of an eye, Parker and Vincent became birthday boys. Rushed to the place where Fusho haunted. Bai Qingqing replaced the cub. Let them go and grab Harvey L. Blue Door immediately said, I don't need a vet. It's just skin trauma. I'll be able to hunt tomorrow. Well, you have a wound and you must not get it wet. Blue Fur is most worried about the snake beast right now. Did you hear that? The injury he just had. He was very afraid that the snake beast would look down on him. This would make him a white-green companion, a hindrance for couples. At this time, the Blue Fur is like a big brother. Gently touched Bai Qingqing's head and said, he is an aquatic creature. It's okay to get wet. Blue Fur enjoys the touch of Bai Qingqing. Bai Qingqing slapped away the blue-haired hand with a wave of his hand. Then you have a good rest. I'll go back first. Lan Mao, who put down his hand, lowered his head and drank. Slightly disappointed. But Bai Qingqing, who walked under the tree, was a little troubled. I wanted to go up and didn't want to disturb Curtis's rest. It's impossible to climb up with your bare hands. At this time, the little medicine boys rushed over, dragging Bai Qingqing into the tree hole. The little cubs took turns to take the cypress green, carry it up to the hole. There was a huge movement. That's when Curtis heard the movement. Stretched out the snake's tail and put it on Bai Qingqing's head. Who, Curtis? Then Bai Qingqing hugged Curtis's tail. Shamefully flew up to the tree hole. Curtis, you heard it all just now. Curtis complimented that he heard it. You did a very good job. Bai Qingqing in Curtis's arms. The rubbed hair is messed up. Curtis uses a snake's tail inside his bag. The comb was removed. I'm going to comb Bai Qingqing's hair. Bai Qingqing complained. I want to cut my hair in half. It's annoying to death with such long hair. Curtis said if you find it annoying, I'll take care of it for you. Bai Qingqing continued to complain. If it weren't for you, my hair has been cut a long time ago. Bai Qingqing flipped left and right in Curtis's arms. Roll it up. Found a scallop shell. Happy to cut off your hair. But the bottom of the shell was broken and snatched, and you were not allowed to be cut. Hair looks good. I can't bear to like it. Well, then listen to you. Afterwards, Bai Qingqing braided his hair, found a strip of animal skin, and tied it. Wow! After a while, the two small twist flowers have been tied. How nice it is! Well, isn't it pretty? I've been making this up for a long time. Cord is picked up Bai Qingqing. Ever since that vet came, we haven't communicated. It's time to make it back. How did the topic jump so fast? It used to be dark. It's only afternoon. This long worm is trying to be ecstatic. Bai Qingqing's mind. When it was bombarding indiscriminately, Curtis buried his head down, blocked his respiratory system. After a while, I gasped hee. When I'm on the way, Bai Qingqing asked Curtis, was there the sound of a tiger roaring just now? There is no fear. Graham took his cubs with him at this time. Climbed up. As soon as I climbed into the treehouse, I saw the scene in front of me. I should be at the bottom of the tree. It shouldn't be in a tree. It's really lingering. Chris wrapped the white green in the middle. However, it was discovered by the attentive Parker. Suddenly it clicked like a thunderbolt on a sunny day. At this time, the little cubs also climbed up. I looked inside curiously. Look at what your mother and second father are doing. Immediately chased down by an angry Parker. Don't look after the cubs have been driven away. Parker was alone in front of the window and watched the whole thing. The scene shifts to Vincent's side. There was indeed a tiger roar just now that came from Vincent. He gathered a large number of orcs to a clearing. Tell everyone about the blessing of longevity in the water. Everyone must be careful when drinking water. Thinking of that group of blessings. Will definitely divide their food. Rob them of their resources. This is all the blessings. Show is not willing to accept things. The crowd is 7 mouths. Gossip said, there is little water in the tribe. They may not settle down, and it's possible that they were just passing by. But soon the heavy rainy season is coming. I'm afraid that after they get used to living here, I won't leave. In those blessed longevity, grabbing land is not an easy task. There will be a lot of trouble. At this time, Vincent whispered that it was not troublesome. Did the king think of a way? Vincent transforms into a human form, swore and said this rainy season, let's eat Fusho meat. Ooh. Vincent is ready to let everyone follow Fusho. Vincennes held a conference. Gather many orcs to fight Fusho to the end. It has been unanimously affirmed by everyone. Many of the beasts were outraged. Whoop and chirp and scream. Seeing that the atmosphere is all set off here, Vincent jumped into the water with a plop. The orcs on the shore were stunned. And that's where it begins. Vincent came out and said, ha ha. Quiche. If you like clean males, you should wash them more. Don't be disliked. Ha ha, forget it. What to do? What to do? He was then instructed to pass on the news. The team leaders secretly sweated. Luckily, I was quick to respond. The ones in the back did not come up. Otherwise, the majesty of this king will be lost by 30. It's night. A demonic wind blew in the woods. Bai Qingqing hid in the room and shivered. Although there is Curtis in the middle, but I still feel cold. Parker was holding a basin of boiling water. Let's wipe yourself off. Ask son, are you there? I'm taking out the lamp. It's too dark for me to see. Okay, Vincent, after taking out the lamp. The whole room lit up. Bai Qing shyly hid behind Curtis. This is still the scene of holding the pipa and half covering his face. Parker and Vincent swallowed. Bai Qingqing crawled out and said, Pike, help me get the towel. Parker wrung the towel and handed it to Bai Qingqing. Thank you. It's a bit cold today. I don't know what I'm talking about, though. But to see such a hot gaze staring at himself, he still felt very embarrassed. It's okay for Parker and Curtis. But Vincent was a newcomer. The people are strong. Maybe he still can't let go. Thankfully, Curtis was still in front of him, so that it won't make him so embarrassed all the time. Curtis saw the people struggling, and the body shivering because of the cold. I think it's probably because it's raining and it's cold. He'll have to figure it out. Then he removed his snake tail. Left just after taking a shower. Bai Qingqing, who was naked, hid in place. What are you doing, okay? All of this is exposed to the tattoo. Bai Qingqing looked behind him with his peripheral vision. The tattoo seems to be looking at the side. Parker's hand shook in front of Bai Qingqing's eyes. What's wrong with the stars? Is the water cold? Come, and I'll wash it for you. Bai Qingqing didn't pay attention to Parker. Said to Vincent, you're sleeping here today, too. Well, it's cold, and we've talked about it. I moved in and went to sleep. Can make you warmer a bit. After saying that it was too late. Vincent's heart was also very entangled. He had a little regret about agreeing to Chris, because he didn't take the initiative to accept it. I thought about it. Bai Qingqing may be a little reluctant to join him. Sleep. Seeing Bai Qingqing's embarrassed and twisted look. The tattoo confirms his inner conjecture. Suddenly, he looked very lost, lowered his head, and blushed. It was replaced by a deep expression and the loneliness of the spare tire. Vincent said he wanted to sleep with Bai Qingqing. Bai Qingqing squirmed and thought it would make me warmer. Do you want to sleep with me? How do you sleep? Then I thought of myself and Vincent. It's been robbed repeatedly. What are you panicking about? Think about it. Whose idea would it be? Look at Parker. That puff-out look. It shouldn't be Parker's. Rui. Vincent's so sullen. Definitely not. He offered that affection must be the long worm. The long worm was actually willing to let the tattoo get close to Bai Qingqing. Made Bai Qingqing very puzzled. At this time, Parker whispered, "When did you discuss it?" "I don't know." Parker's face was upset. "It's not cool, but it still can't beat Chris. I followed Chris's advice just now. Didn't you hear me? Curtis and I just finished talking. What else could there have just been? Just when the two of you are about to finish. I mentioned the sad thing just now." Parker stepped on his tail. "Curtis asked me to boil water to make food. By the way, I said this. What that time? Curtis didn't take bad reviews seriously at that time. I didn't even get a chance of a bad review." Bowed his head slightly. "I can't remember myself who I just threw in. Isn't it very imageless? Saw Parker die of fever. I cried again because of jealousy. I guess I wouldn't have seen it at that time. It's all Curtis's fault anyway. Lack of physical strength. The abdominal muscles are connected to the tail of Curtis. I actually sneezed. It looks like it's really getting colder. My physique is sleeping with Xiaobai in my arms." Subsequently, thinking that the leopard can't be left alone, Bai Qingqing is alone. So let Vincent join in. Don't let Bai Qingqing. Too dependent on one bear. In this case, wait until the next season. My position won't be shaken too much. This scheming worm Parker played the role of an old mother in this family. People are eating. He was still trying to make the bed. That's when Parker suddenly mentions that he has a request. "What you sleep in the innermost?" "I am sleeping." Bai Qingqing saw through Parker's plan at a glance. Isn't that Vincent? The first place in terms of novelty fraternity is well-deserved. You're Curtis. I'm sorry that old man is scheming. This is the head of the family. The people put down their chopsticks vigorously and said, "Aren't you here to discuss keeping me warm?" So I slept in the middle. So I feel warmer to hear this decision. Parker was a little frustrated, okay? But I had to sleep in the innermost part of the room. Parker deliberately picked a sleeping mat that wasn't very big. Sleeping on the side tattoo is only the same as sleeping on the floor. Parker, who was smirking on the sidelines, was looking at him gently. One was speechless for a while. In the blink of an eye, the two of them finished eating. Vincent said he was going down to wash the dishes. Put away the dishes and chopsticks and walked out. It's raining heavily. Bai Qingyan leaned in front of the window and sighed. It would be more convenient if you live in a house. Vincent was at the right time. When it comes to heavy rains, you can build a good house. They can move in when it's cold. Are you sure? Well, but are you ready to build a house in the rain? No, I'm going to get sick, so I'm going to take my time. Wen San said affectionately to Bai Qingqing, "I'll send you whatever you want." Whatever it is. Vincent was about to continue speaking to Bai Qingqing. At this time, Parker suddenly called Qingqing. "Wow, I can't take care of it. Who should Bai Qingqing listen to? Haven't reacted yet. My own two husbands began to fight for the wind and become jealous. Is there something wrong with you? Whatever you have to do to go out and report it. Then go and just go. Vincent, don't worry about children. Go ahead, well, fight me." Qingqing came to sleep. "What are you trying to do? Hey, you're mine tonight. Wait a minute, what's wrong?" And then seemed to move. It seems that it is appropriate to communicate with that. It's really good for children. I don't feel it. You can try. Many times, I've changed a lot of positions. I didn't feel in Anne's movement, causing him to doubt now. Can you really hear movement through your stomach? Now he's a little skeptical. Bai Qingqing said in shock, "I'm not deaf for you." Ha, silly. He knew that Bai Qingqing was joking with himself. "I want you to look good." Then he pressed Bai Qingqing on the bed. Tickle him. I was wrong when the two of them were having fun. The atmosphere suddenly became ambiguous. The two exhaled more and were about to wipe the wall when they went off the fire. Tattoos scurried up. Qingqing, what are you talking about? Move Paxton was furious. You're back too fast. I said it and moved a few times. Oh yes. Vincent thought to himself. If only I could touch it. Recently, and it has become more and more lively. I slept with that. You come. You hear the sound of the white piano and invite yourself to sleep. Vincent was a little nervous. He walked over with a stabbing hand and foot, lifted the quilt stiffly like a robot. Cover yourself slowly. Gently pull across the quilt, over his shoulders. After a while, it was pulled away with a whoosh. Vincent shivered from the cold. But I don't know what's going on. The people who slept in the middle witnessed the whole process. Vincent, however, lay on the side without fighting, warm by shaking. Seeing one is already deep. The weather is getting cooler. I was worried that the tattoo couldn't stand it. Reached out and poked the tattoo. Go get another book cover. Not enough to cover the tattoo, said shyly. Good? I'm going to get the tattoo and get up and get the quilt. Only then did Bai Qingqing exhale. I'm so nervous. Witching hour. Vincent opened the box, found a hide full of holes. Lifted him up. What he thought was that it didn't matter what I built myself, but it will have to be covered on Qingqing's body for a while. Let's make good use of animal skins. Then place a good hide. It was covered on by Qingqing's body. Said softly, sleep, while Bai Qingqing slept in the middle, covered with two quilts. Feel the love from both partners. When you feel a little heavy. Bai Qingqing, who was not asleep, saw Curtis. Lie down in front of the window. Curtis, aren't you sleeping yet? Curtis said that the cave was filled with wind. He found some straw and sealed the hole. This will allow Bai Qingqing to sleep more peacefully. Well, I felt the love of the third partner. Curtis also carefully put away the light rod. Bai Qingqing reminded at this time. Let Curtis go and plug the cub's hole. In the middle of the night, Qingqing still couldn't sleep. It was his first time. I can feel the text so clearly. The temperature of the Mori body. Then he swallowed. At this point, Parker turned around. I couldn't sleep with a wicked smile at Bai Qingqing. Both hands gave me a quick sleep. Otherwise, I'll be angry. You see how well Vincent sleeps. You need to go to bed early. Got it. At this time, Vincent was not actually asleep. He looked at Bai Qingqing's back. I thought to myself, I really want to touch Bai Qingqing's cub. That's what I was thinking. Saw that Bai Qingqing was already asleep. So he put his very gentleman's hand, slowly slide downward, touched Bai Qingqing's belly. I don't think I will be noticed when I am cooked. Wow, that's round. Bai Qingqing suddenly twitched, stretched out his hand. I saw Bai Qingqing moving. Vincent immediately withdrew his hand. It's like being a thief. Saw that Bai Qingqing just chirped twice. But there was no other move. Vincent was immediately relieved. At this time, Bai Qingqing, who was sleeping soundly, turned around. He hugged Vincent. It's like a soft throw pillow. The same rode him on his body. Such an unconscious movement. Index. Vincent's heart pounded. I feel like my body can't stand it anymore and save my life. Wait until the sun is on the ass. Bai Qingqing gradually woke up from her sleep, touching the tattoo in a daze. I thought Parker had turned into a beast. Speaking of how Parker got bigger, I didn't find out until Bai Qingqing opened her eyes completely. It turned out to be a tattoo. Bye tattoos. What to do? I'm submerged. Turn your head and look. Where did this guy go early in the morning? How is it gone? Bai Qingqing greeted Vincent awkwardly. Morning, Vincent slowly woke up. Seeing so close to Bai Qingqing, Vincent was also slightly excited. Helplessly, he swallowed his saliva, able to hear each other's breathing. The atmosphere is very ambiguous. Bai Qingqing wanted to control her breathing, but I can't control it. The two of them looked at each other like this. Affectionate paragraphs. You're non, I'm non. Eyebrows flirt. Fall in love. Like a deer caught in headlights. Benson was afraid that he couldn't control himself. Doing stupid things when Bai Qingqing was pregnant. So hurry. Put your hand off Bai Qingqing's shoulder. Pulled out. Where did his brother go to relieve the embarrassment? You want to make you breakfast? Well, the quilt is not enough. I'm sorry to notice that the atmosphere is very awkward. Bai Qingqing wondered if she should say something. Then his eyes drifted to the side, not far away. Curtis, I'm still asleep. A large snake has taken over 10,000 of the tree holes. Hey, Minson didn't say anything. The atmosphere is even more awkward. Curtis hears someone saying bad things about him. Sis woke up. Bai Qingqing was like seeing a savior. Then I thought about whether it was because I complained about him. He heard it. Curtis mourning. Wow. Curtis got up again. Angry. He turned over and continued to sleep. Sisai. Bai Qingqing admired Curtis's prosperous beauty. Like a beautiful snake. Thinking of this, Bai Qingqiang couldn't help but laugh. At this time, Vincent turned his head to look. He didn't know what Bai Qingqiang was laughing at. Bai Qingqiang felt that the atmosphere was even more awkward. At this time, Xiaoyu. We ran up. Whimper, whining. Whisper that someone is sleeping. Come in. Bai Qingqing lifted the quilt. Let the little moon boys hide in their own bed. Let the little moon babies also warm, and receive to get a nest for the little moon boys. It is also very warm for them to sleep at night. It's okay to reconcile. Vincent, good? At this time, Parker came out with a basin of hot water. Help catch the water. There's food to be brought down there. Sin sensibly walked over and picked up the water. Parker will also be white and green like to eat food. Brought them all. Bai Qingqing walked over. I saw that Parker was all wet. Soft animal skins were taken out. Rubbed it on Parker's head. Wipe it off. Don't catch a cold. It's hard to live today. Not as cold as today. The food is not easy to spoil. I've boiled the soup you drank all day more conveniently. At this time, there was a whine. A gust of wind blew in. It turned out to be Vincent in front of the window. The blocked grass was taken down. The inside of the house was ventilated instantly. Parker reminded Bai Qingqing to hurry up and eat. Then I helped him fix his hair. And Vincent, who saw all this, thinking in my heart, it should be difficult for me to be with Bai Qingqing. Back to the old one. In a harmonious scene. Then he wanted to leave under the pretext of excuses. At this time, Bai Qingyin stopped Vincent. You haven't eaten yet. Hearing Bai Qing's tone cares about himself. Vincent's heart was immediately overjoyed. I'm just going to make kennel for the leopards. Be back soon. I'm okay. Huck saw that Bai Qing was so gentle with Vincent. The vinegar jar was overturned again. Hey, he made a nest for your son, and you were angry with him. Habitual fautes. He could be jealous on the side. While rubbing Bai Qingqing's hair. And bluntly said that you can interact with tigers. But not more than him. Bai Qingqing casually perfunctory. Okay. How did you get my hair like this? Seeing my hair was like an explosion. Bai Qingqing's head was big for a while. Parker hid behind him and laughed secretly. After bringing the mirror, Bai Qingqing clearly saw his hair. It's even more angry. So Parker said with a smile. Bai Qingqing was the hairiest female he had ever seen. Bai Qingqing heard Mao the most. He immediately pestered Parker to turn him into a beast. He's going to make braids for his hair. Parker immediately turned into a beast form, was pressed to the ground and tickled by Bai Qingqing. Laughing ha-ha. It was when the two were interacting intimately. The cubs behind him quietly climbed onto the table. The two of them are still playing around here. The little cubs on the table were eating. Knocked over the bowl. There was a commotion. It was Parker's attention that caught his attention. Parker turned his head to look. In order not to let the back of the patchin, Qing braided her hair into braids. Immediately stood up to divert attention. There was a rebuke. Scared the little cubs to the point of trembling. But because Parker stood up suddenly, Bai Qingqing grabbed Parker's hand, but did not relax. An inch. So he plucked the hair from Parker's thick neck. Unplugged. Parker didn't know it. The majesty of the magnetic axe is revealed, intimidating the cubs with his eyes. The little cubs who were intimidated by success. It wilted in an instant. This is Bai Qingqing's words to dissuade. I'm already full. You can give it to the cubs to eat. At this time, Parker did not realize that he had taken it off first. Then Bai Qingqing quietly stretched out his hand to the tree. Underneath the hole will be plucked from the hair from Parker's body. Quietly dropped it. After Parker transforms back into his human form. Confirm with Bai Qingqing again. Whether you have eaten enough. Thanks down. You've got to give it to the little leopards. Finish. After getting Bai Qingqing's affirmative reply, Parker gave the food to the cubs. I saw the little cubs eating beautifully. Bai Qingqing suddenly asked, does Parker have such a brother as well? And he hasn't seen it either. Parker replied impatiently, there are such brothers, but they were all beaten away by themselves. It's because the people's sense of smell is very poor. Afraid that the people will shoot his brother. It is Parker himself. So he drove away all the brothers who had come to him. What if you think they're me? How could I not recognize it? You can still call names. Parker, Parker, haha. What are you doing? You're so hard, Parker, haha. Parker said with his head down and some frustration. If you meet his brother, Bai Qingqing even called them Parker. Zhangshak. They're all going to be tough. Because Bai Qingqing is a very beautiful woman. Who doesn't want it? Then, Curtis behind him woke up. Bai Qingqing also asked Curtis at the right time. Are his brothers scattered? Parker said teasingly. His companions are scattered in their stomachs. Curtis didn't answer. Bai Qingqing looked at Curtis's back. Look good. This hair beauty exploded. No, you can't make me so ugly alone. Then he ran over, offered to comb Curtis's hair. Curtis readily agreed. Bai Qingqing couldn't help but snicker. Seeing Curtis so submissive, Bai Qingqing rewarded him. Subject took the back of his head personally. A sound is heard that invades the back of the head. Bai Qingqing said, oh, it's a good bite to hear. Hey, I saw that Bai Qingqing and Curtis were tired. I'm afraid I regret it. I shouldn't have refused Bai Qingqing's teasing just now. Here, Bai Qingqing is holding Curtis's hair. Brush, 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 braided up. After a while, a delicate braid. It appeared on Curtis's head. It looks good. Bai Qingqing is holding her face. On the side, I admired Curtis's prosperous beauty. Ah, the men of this world are too beautiful to be foul. Curtis beckoned Bai Qingqing to hurry over. There is no resistance at all. One pounced. Hey, hey, nymphomaniac, nymphomaniac. Not far from the jungle periphery, a short-haired female was covered in wounds, bright and choked in the forest. He fell to the ground with a thud. The eagle beast patrolling the sky spotted the female. Well, I don't know who fainted. It doesn't look like a tribesman. Let's take a look. It's the female who goes and informs the Tiger King. Vincent was still tinkling and banging on the dog cage. Leopard cages. Here's someone calling out to you. Only then did I think that there might be a happy life again. Then he followed Kalami to find out what was going on. Tiger King. This is the female I found on the periphery. The Tiger King tiger area for a burst of females. I saw that this female was a tiger female. And there is no thrift. Thrown into the jungle alone. Could it be something else? Beat the female severely. Throw it to their turf. Give them the dismount they deserve. At this time, just with the old wolf of the female. Asking for the consent of the Tiger King. He saved this female. Isn't it possible to be his partner? Vincent ignored it. Asked where this female came from. The old wolf comforted the female with warmth and intimacy. This is a normal inquiry. But the female couldn't stop shaking her head, showing some resistance. Vincent noticed that something was wrong. Immediately get the female to raise her head. Vincent reached out and lifted the female's chin. It was like being electrocuted in an instant. This face Rosa. Vincent recognized the female as Rosa. Rosa looked up suddenly, screamed. Frightened Vincent backwards. Rosa bounced. A strong one. Ah! After a closer look, Vincent found that it seemed as if Rosa had no tongue. Vincent, who had calmed down, hurriedly rebuked. Let this old wolf pick it up somewhere. Just throw it wherever it goes. Hearing this cat litter hugging Vincent's leg and not letting go. Una! He even opened his mouth and kissed him on the knee. Vincent suddenly felt disgusted. Bai Qingqing standing in the distance. Discovered movement in the jungle. Look up. Vincent sat on the ground. A female hugged his leg and kissed him vigorously. It's not that Bai Qingqing was also shocked. That lump is a female. Why is this thing still holding Vincent's leg? Shocked. Bai Qingqing's comb fell. Such a slight sound. It also caught Vincent's attention. Turning his head to look, Bai Qingqing found out about his situation. In order to show Bai Qingqing his determination, Vincent mustered his strength. A kick was struck on Rosa's body, and the old wolf who saved Rosa thought of it. This female is really different, seeing that the Tiger King is stronger than himself. Just try to please Vincent. The woman, Vincent, stood up and patted the dust off her body. Let the old wolf hurry up and send this female away. The old wolf still wants to keep it. I want this female to live in the tribe. Seeing that Vincent was a little angry, Lao Lung is not good to resist again. Then he pulled Rosa and wanted to take him away. Rosa heard that she was going to take her away. I don't go, Lao Lung thought affectionately. If only he had been so dependent on himself. You can still accept him as your partner. But the scene just now had completely killed him. This magnetism does not belong to itself. And then it's like being an animal. Carried the Rakshasa on his shoulders. With a chirp, it flew into the sky. After this matter is settled, Vincent turned his head to look in Bai Qingqing's direction. Very worried, Bai Qingqing, who saw this scene just now, would have misunderstood him. Vincent, who was more thoughtful, walked over, picked up the comb. I wonder if I'll be like this comb. Abandoned by Bai Qingqing. In order to salvage the situation, Vincent decided to go up with the comb, explain it to Bai Qingqing. Bai Qingqing on the tree was a little annoyed. He didn't know who the female was. It's also very strange what Vincent did just now. The scene just now upset him. His mouth was chattering. Curtis walked over from behind. Asked, "Do you like Vincent? You just threw your comb." It was because he saw Vincent talking to other females. I've actually accepted Vincent as my companion. Couple facts. At this moment, Vincent behind him stretched out a hand. Get ready to climb up the hollow of the tree. Suddenly, I heard a conversation between Curtis and Bai Qingqing. Instantly froze in place. I want to hear what is going on again. Bai Qingqing continued to explain. He saw Vincent getting close to the other females, and he felt uncomfortable, and he was very fond of Vincent. Vincent heard Bai Qingqing say that he liked himself. Startled, he held the comb to his mouth. Suddenly, it fell to the ground with a whoosh. Chris, who heard the sound, turned his head to look. Who fell to the ground? Vincent was still thinking back to Bai Qingqing's words just now. He likes me. Vincent eavesdropped on the movement. He retracted into the tree hole on the next floor. Shiro gently climbed to the entrance of the cave and looked down. The cubs happened to see the little cubs play under the tree hole. Turning to Curtis, he said it was the cubs. Good. Bai Qingqing was a little worried when she saw Curtis's expression. He was as jealous as Parker. Immediately explained that he liked a lot of people. For example, Jasmine Lancer and his classmates from that world. The family is all right. Vincent is just one of them. Here's such an explanation. Vincent's mood swelled again, although he thinks that his Solike has been content. But my heart was very uncomfortable. That's what heartache feels like. Bai Qingqing continued to explain. He regarded Vincennes as his own relative. If you only use him as a tool for work, that would be pitiful. Chris put his arm around Bai Qingqing. You just have too soft a heart. The crisis has finally been resolved. Bai Qingqing began to find a comb. Vincent downstairs also cleaned up his mood, picked up the comb. It was placed on the mouth of the little cub. Let them help their mom get it. Frustrated thoughts. Maybe I shouldn't be here. Then he went out to work silently. It was the third child who jumped up with a comb in his mouth. Did you pick up my comb for my mother? Thank you, the third child. Curtis spat out the letter. Smelled a hint of a tattoo. What has just been done has been understood. But he wasn't going to tell Bai Qingqing. Tattoos work outside in the pouring rain. Looking at the dirt. At this time, there was a chirp behind him. A big old man flew down. It turned out to be the one who picked up the magnetic one again. Lao Lung said to Vincent, "This magnetism seems to be sick," begging Vincent to keep him in the tribe. "Otherwise, you will die." The kind-hearted Vincent still sighed. "I'm ready to compromise." Calling Rosa's name, but there was no response. Then let Lao Lung take Rosa to rest. Vincent looked at the distant shadow of the bird. I thought of Rosa one. It is impossible for a weak female to cross mountains alone. Come here. Someone must have done it on purpose. Now his main thing. It is still necessary to beware of longevity. Looking at the traces of Fusho crawling on the ground. It extends to the rest of the tribe. I'm worried that Fusho has infiltrated the tribe. It's not good in case it hurts the females and cubs. Suddenly, there was a rustling sound in the jungle. Turning his head, it turned out that Parker was carrying a large fish. The demonstrator snorted at the tattoo. Happily said that the meat of this Fusho is very tender. Bai Qingqing will definitely like it. Let's eat this tonight. Immediately, the two of them returned to the tree hole. Bai Qingqing turned her head to look. Immediately asked Vincent, "What happened to that female just now? Why drive him away?" Vincent replied briefly, "He's not fit to stay here." Bai thought in his heart, if Vincent was trying to show his loyalty, I'm afraid I'll misunderstand him because of that female. In fact, there is no need to do this at all. Then he asked why he couldn't stay here. Because he is Rosa. What Parker, don't you remember him? I saw Parker say viciously. How could it be forgotten? It can be said that Rosa has harmed herself before. Also kill Bai Qingqing. So Vincent did a very good job this time. Give you a thumbs up. Vincent continued. He did not find Rosa's partner. So they brought him back again. And said the same as swearing. Once he finds the foreign orcs, just send him out. It will definitely not make Bai Qingqing look upset. Although he still hates Rosa. But what he was most afraid of was Rosa's vicious thoughts. Now I have a child of my own. He was afraid that Rosa would design to harm his children. Some children and the people he loves the most. Became his only concern. And what he feared most. Bai Qingqing wanted to say hello. The Pomelos went to play. Parker said about this. The Pomelos told him that the comb had been given by Vincent. Don't know what that means. At this time, Bai Qingqing suddenly reacted. The conversation he had with Curtis. Vincent heard it all. Vincent was about to be exposed. Quickly explained that he was in a hurry to go out just now. So he gave the comb to the tyrant. The answer was sincere and natural. I don't know, I'm lying. Did you hear my conversation with Curtis? What a word. No, well, that's fine. I went out first, just as he was about to turn away. Bai Qingqing said to Vincent, he's going to make a very large hide. This way at night when you go to bed. It wouldn't have been for Vincent's half of his body to be outside. Bai Qingqing excitedly said white. The whole tree hole is so big. It is possible to sew an oversized piece of bark. Fill this tree hole to the brim. You can sleep any way you want. The comfort of thinking about it was so decided. Anyway, he's the head of the family. Then he said to Parker, when you come up later, you have to clean your paws. Why are you just talking about me? Because you often. Sleeping in the nest with 4 mud legs. Anyway, if you do it, you won't be there. I'll just clean it later. Hearing that, Bai Qingqing was tattooed by Parker. Quietly cleaning the mud from his feet on the side. On the sly, Parker proposes to go down and eat together. Bai Qingqing is a foodie. I was very happy to hear about the food. In an instant, the mood changed from cloudy to sunny. Parker made crocodile meat into a delicacy. Clip it to Bai Qingqing to eat. Ah, open your mouth. What kind of meat is this? It's delicious. This is the meat of Fukushu. Frightened, Bai Qingqing vomited out the meat in disgust and questioned whether the meat of that crocodile could be eaten. Vincent saw that the two were flirting. I am very redundant. Then the excuse is to go and check on Charo. Shah's affairs walked away alone. Rosa, who was unconscious, woke up. Sit up and look around. This is supposed to be Vincent's tribe. The old wolf saw Rosa wake up, ran over excitedly. I am the heroic beast who saved you. If you haven't found a partner yet, you can choose me. Rosa nervously shook the old wolf's hand. The old wolf immediately understood what Rosa meant. You said you were looking for the Tiger King. All right, I'm going to ask the Tiger King to pay by mistake after all. Stay here and don't run around. I'll be right back. Lao Lung thought that he really liked the Tiger King, and after he turned away, what I didn't see was a sinister face behind me. He smiled. Bai Qingqing wanted to hire Vincent when he was full. Walked over. Bai Qingqing found out that Vincent was back. Vincent explained that it was Rosa who was looking for him. Bai Qingqing was suddenly a little annoyed. What kind of demon moth is this Rosa? I decided to go with Vincent. Came and found Rosa. Rosa hugged Vincent's hand vigorously. Babbling. When he saw Bai Qingqing, he pointed at him angrily. Probably because of Mr. Bai. He's going to end up here. The males of those small tribes are more excessive. He dismissed only one of the males of the tribe. The rest of the males didn't like him. And there are even more excessive. It was the bald old man who wanted to put him to death. Actually used him as bait to seduce Fusho. And now he has the only chance. It's the trip with Vincent. He was safe after the holiday. Vincent's heart was only white and green. He didn't care if Rosa lived or died. Rosa saw Bai Qingqing also follow. It's also very annoying. Thinking of Bai Qingqing's partner Chris. Vincent will not be accepted, so he still has a chance. After all, he and Vincent belong to the same tiger clan. At this point, Vincent's answer was like giving it to him. A big push. Said that he had already traveled with Bai Qingqing. This answer shocked Rosa. Hey, I don't believe it. As he spoke, he was about to rush to his head. Bai Qingqing was caught by mosquitoes. The sand was thrown into the distance. Said to the old wolf who had picked him up, bring Rosa to the group leader. Let those bears and beasts who have been relieved to take care of this female. But the old wolf returned to this female, and there was no repetition. He didn't do it again. They can't be robbed. Vincent suddenly released Wong's slight pressure. Tell the team leader. All males are not allowed to rob him. Otherwise, immediately expelled from the tribe. Such a decision. Lao Lung and Rosa were shocked. What a ruthless one. Then Lao Lung was still obedient to Rosa. Carried on the shoulder. Ran away. Seeing that Rosa had left, Vincent suddenly said very gently to the 100 green spears. Did it scare you? Bai Qingqing sighed. Rosa didn't scare me. You scared me. Vincent suddenly picked up Bai Qingqing. Why are you going home? I can't walk on my own. Back under the tree hole. Parker boiled the mung bean soup. Turning his head, he saw Vincent hugging Bai Qingqing. I'm starting to get jealous again. In order not to keep Parker from continuing to have seizures. The mung bean soup is a bit hot. Bai Qingqing was still dry. And it's very delicious. I want to drink another bowl like this to coax Parker. Sprinkle Jiao and ask Parker to serve him another bowl. Parker served mung bean soup on the side. He asked why Vincent was holding him just now. White, green. He explained to Parker what he had just encountered. Parker tensed all at once. Asked if Rosa had done anything to him. It's okay. You scare me to death, didn't you? That's good for you to protect me. No one can hurt me. Parker was suddenly indignant. Said sweetly that Rosa had a bad stomach. There is him who knows it will happen. What's the matter? I really want to tear him up directly. It seems that Parker does have a deep hatred for Rosa. Vincent looked at Bai Qingqing, got up from under the hole in the tree. That's when Curtis woke up. I saw my head full of braids. I think it's a bit girly. Bai Qingqing happily ran over, offered to help Curtis comb his hair. But because there are too many twisted braids, Bai Qingqing can't handle it alone. I want Vincent to come over and help. This is Curtis's eye knife. Floated past with a whoosh. Vincent was taken aback. I had something to do. I went out first. The people complained behind him. Vincent is a workaholic. Are you so busy every day? Grease smiled crookedly. Please exhale. This tiger beast is much stronger than the top 10. The tiger beast and Parker had to compete for favor together. After a while, the twist on Curtis's head was all unraveled. Look at Curtis. There is a little more evil smell in the feminine handsomeness. It's like a kraken that lives deep under the sea. Just like Bai Qingqing said before, the orc beauty of this world is foul. But Curtis is a snake. Why is there no beard with such long hair? Now Curtis was puzzled. Why did he grow a beard? Bai asked softly. Orcs don't have to look like lions? That's how the beast grows. Brother heard the lion beast for the second time. I'm starting to think about it again. Xiao Bai likes males with increased hair. When had he ever seen a male who had lost his footing? Then he asked directly, do you like the furry orcs here? No. Like it? Those who have beards are uncles. How could I like it? Uncle is old. What? So I'm old, and you don't like me anymore. Bai Qingqing hurriedly explained. Chris looks young. Not an uncle. So I'm still an old uncle. Bai Qingqing was a little frustrated when she couldn't explain it. Curtis suddenly leaned over and said it was okay. In a few decades, we will not be far behind. At this time, Chef Parker brought the meal again. Curtis asked Bai Qingqing to eat. He's going out for a while now. The smell of fukushu is all around. The rain can't cover it. I'm going to go out and have a bite to eat. The baby comes back early. Chris shrank back on the wall. Observe the topography. The walls are thick enough and not easy to climb. As long as Fusho doesn't come in, there won't be much of a problem. But the rainy season is the peak time for females to come into heat. But now there are a large number of females. It's over estrus. While Curtis was thinking, there was a chirping sound behind him. Curtis was annoyed by the noise. Just as I was about to leave, two little karami passed past Curtis. The two of them were chatting for a while. Speaking of which, Rosa is already in heat. He's going to check it out. Another karami said, didn't King Wu want to send him away? His body hasn't grown yet. The team leader didn't let him leave for the time being. But the Tiger King's orders were in charge of him. We're new here too. It's a big deal to take Rosa to find another tribe. Makes sense I'm going too. Two orcs are on their way. A crocodile burst out. This is... Bai Qingqing in the tree hole fell asleep when he was full. But I didn't fall asleep, because it's too noisy outside. At this time, Vincent transformed into a beast and jumped into the tree hole. Tell Bai Qingqing that something is wrong with the tribe. It wasn't until Vincent stood up that he found out. Vincent likes to sleep naked. Didn't wear a leather skirt. Platinum Gun turned his head shyly. Peek through your fingers. Although I have watched it many times. But every time it's more than I imagined. Have I really come into contact with this thing? Or am I making a fuss? It's just that Parker discovered Bai Qingqing's careful thoughts. A handful of them covered the quilt. Pressed Bai Qingqing on the quilt. Rivenson sighed as well. Almost thought of his body. Attracted by Qingqing. It shouldn't be possible. Something big happened in the tribe. Messages are sent through the sound of being howled. Fusho outside attacked. The crowd looked under the tree. A huge fortune has come to the bottom of the tree. Bai Qingqing found that such a longevity was bigger than a crocodile. Be flexible too. If he is chased, he will definitely not be able to escape. Fusho found Bai Qingqing and others in the tree hole. So he used brute force and started hitting the tree. I'm going to this beast to have an IQ. Curtis saw that Fukushu had come under the tree. In order to protect Bai Qingqing, Curtis swooped and rushed over. An invincible wind. Give him a pink flower roll. With a bang, he pinched a fortune to death. The other Fusho saw this scene, trembling with fear. Prepare to run. Curtis released a slight pressure, spit out the letter, and threatened Xiaobai to die. Bai Qingqing still thought, Curtis is embarrassed. Be protected by these weak bears. That's why I'm just going to take action now to solve Fusho. And Vincent and Parker also said, they will go down and kill the enemy. It's time for real crisis. They all share the big picture. Unanimous external and internal coaxing. This way, Becky alone in a tree hollow, calling Ford. Where are you? The White Lance spotted Becky in danger. Asked Parker to help out right away. He refused, because after he left, only Bai Qingqing was left in the tree hole. Seeing Becky running down the tree in a panic, running around on the ground, very dangerous, Vincent ran over and grabbed Becky. Seeing that Fusho was blocking the way, Vincent had no choice but to take Betsy back to the hollow of the tree. Let him hide in the white-green tree hole. Becky was still crying for Ford. Bai Qingqing suggested that Vincent go to find Fu. Let him in. Parker was shocked. Let the other males go into their holes. Although I don't want to, I am forced by Bai Qingqing's obscenity. Parker had no choice but to agree. At this point, Ford jumped up and hugged Becky. Becky finally stabilized her mood. Vincent told Ford to stay on it. He's going to go down with Parker to live a good life. After a big fight, the tribe finally quieted down. The crisis of Fujiu has been lifted for the time being. Chris discovered Vincennes and Parker have both come down. So Bai Qingqing is no one to take care of. Parker said that Becky's students were taking care of him from above. Immediately blew up Curtis. Whoosh into the hollow of the tree. Dropped Ford with a snap. Betsy exclaimed Ford's name. Curtis, let Betsy go down with his partner. Bai Qingqing also wanted to explain, but see Curtis's tone. It seems that there is no way to refuse. Frustrated, he agreed to let Becky go. Seeing the people fluent and displaced, Bai Qingqing was very worried. Curtis comforted Bai Qingqing and said that he had a tattoo. As the Tiger King, he will arrange a kind home for them. Come over and hug. The tone just now scares you. It's okay if I'm sorry for your words. The team leader came over to report. Speaking of which, the entrance is already blocked with stones. But the handrails outside, still banging desperately against the wall. Desperately impressed Karami behind him. Couldn't help but complain. A good mating device is also destroyed. The group leader turned. Prepare to blame this spit orc. Hearing the complaint, Vincent fell into deep thought. Guess this Fusho launched an attack. It may be related to estrus. The orcs speculated. Probably because they want to come and snatch females inside the tribe. And males. When you smell the breath of a female in heat, you won't be able to control your brain. Let that thing be controlled by the brain. Own brains. Bai Qingqing also understood. Every time I come to relatives, my 3 husbands are so uncomfortable. Vincent thought a little for the safety of the tribe. Or organized orcs. Part of the protected tribes. Some of them followed themselves out of the city to kill Fusho. I heard that I was going to go out and fight. The boys were very excited. Vincent consulted with Chris about no. The females inside were driven into the cave. Otherwise, the white orangutans will follow. Curtis couldn't go back. Vincent then said no. There are still many more that have to be killed for a long time. Curtis still couldn't go back. And what the white orangutan thought in his heart was, you can eat crocodile meat for a long time. Parker also has no way to take this foodie. Vincent said, the veterinarian has been brought in to see the females. I'm going to arrange the next steps. At this time, only Bai Qingqing was left in the tribe. A female. But there's Curtis. Safer than any male. These days, Vincent went out to kill Fusho during the day. Come back to sleep at night. Bai Qingqing guessed. Vincent must have come back to warm his bed. I'm afraid that he will be cold when he sleeps at night. One morning, Bai Qingqing heard some familiar voices. Let Parker go to the cave and have a look. It turned out that Fusho came over again. And the confrontation with Fusho is a leopard. It's Harvey, I saw another leopard. Z whined and rushed down. Jumped on Fusho's back. Bai Qingqing turned his head to look. Wow. It's Parker, he's so fast. Parker bites Fusho to death in one bite. Compare it to Harvey. Parker is so heroic. After killing the crocodile, Parker came up with Fusho meat on his shoulder. He was joined by Harvey. Bai Qingqing looked at Chris worriedly. There are other males who have injured their own tree houses. I don't know if Chris will be angry. Harvey kicked it down. I haven't seriously checked Bai Qingqing's stomach. Fortunately, nothing is a big deal. After learning that there are no major problems, Chris is about to be driven away. I'll go down right away. At this time, Mr. Bai said, Let. Parker gave the blessings to the females in the cave. Harvey happily said I'd stay and help too. Chris hissed suddenly loudly. Harvey hurriedly said, I help under the tree. Then the two of them hugged a basin with each other. Pots of Fusho meat. Walked into the stone cave. The females are scrambling to grab the Fusho meat to eat. The scene was in chaos for a while. Then, Harvey shouted loudly to give me a word. The glasses are good, okay? It would be more efficient to come one by one. Harvey on the go. I saw in the corner with my peripheral vision. There are two females who do not fight or fight. One is Jasmine, who is already pregnant, and the other one is sick. Then he brought a bowl of Fusho meat and walked over. Asked Rosa, that is, the female who didn't speak just now. 10 bowls for everyone. Are you ready? Rosa tilted her head away. Harvey looked at the little girl quirkily. He's sick, and the smell on his body is weird. Abby asked the dumb man very gently. Why not speak? Parker said fiercely, leave him alone. Let him stay on the sidelines. Harvey was a little angry. Angry at Parker. An injured person should not be treated so harshly. The two were about to quarrel. Jasmine quickly took the bowl and said, Hurry up and give it to me. I'm going to starve to death after taking the food to Jasmine. Abby confronts Parker as to why he did this. Parker explained that the broken old lady was going to be finished. Harvey was shocked. That's when I learned about Rosa's background. After distributing the meat to the other females, before putting some of the remaining residue in the bucket, left to Rosa. Give it to eat, wow. The poor must have something to hate. Harvey checked the females one by one. Many females have already conceived their cubs. Thus, Harvey's medical skills are indeed still good. And on the side of Rosa, see how powerful Harvey is. Will it show off its own taste is different? But now he is also ready to shoot. There is no turning back, and the big deal is that the fish die and the net is broken. It's a big deal to take these females and die together. The most regrettable thing is that Bai Qingqing didn't come. Parker and Harvey ran out of food, ready to go down the hill and go back. On the way back, Parker suddenly sensed that something was wrong. All of a sudden, they were on alert. Let Harvey hide behind him. Suddenly, a large fortune beast rushed out. In the blink of an eye, 3 or 4 more blessings came out. A burst of attacks at Parker LV. Parker lifted the stone basin and banged, it was a fat beating. After solving Fujiu, Parker was also very shocked. Could it be that all these blessings and longevity are for? Did the females of the tribe come? He then handed the stone basin to Harvey. With a snort, he ran out. There are heroic beasts patrolling the tribe. Messages can be delivered quickly. And several days of heavy rain will be the trace of Fusho haunting. The traces and smells were washed away. Vincent reminded the orcs not to be careless, especially at night. Their routes and smells are mixed. Pervasive. Cheer up all the orcs. Vincent's meeting isn't over yet. The Fusho quietly burrowed into all parts of the tribe. Some of the blessings are covered with big teeth. Take your own powerful upper and lower jaws, crashing into a tree, trying to find some of the females hiding inside. Another batch came out of the hole. Numerous blessings and longevity come together. It has formed a vast blessing. Show Daju and White Apangutans listen to what Vincent said. It also feels incredible. The feminine in the tribe is more attractive. It's impossible for Fusho to come in with a hole. It is possible to be in heat with a female. The smell that comes out is related. Tattoos are recommended. Separate the females in heat from those who are not in heat first. This will allow at least some of the females to be saved. In addition, Bai Qingqing also put forward a conjecture. He thinks it has something to do with Rosa. Vincent also agreed with Bai Qingqing's conjecture. He had been skeptical at first. Mr. Bai proposed. Here, the attraction of love to Fusho is actually not so great. For example, hiding in a tree hole. And no longevity came to the door and said to Vincent if he wanted to verify this guess. Females can be isolated one by one. Exclude. Vincent worries that the tribe is not yet so powerful. It is not possible to isolate them one by one. In order not to worry Bai Qingqing, Vincent reached out and stroked Bai Qingqing's head. Say you don't have to worry. I'll take care of it. Okay, let's sleep then. Sleep under the covers. White-green quilt. Two furry felines are wrapped in the middle. It's very warm. He even felt that Vincent was even hotter. I want to hug him. Here. Parker was still gently patting the quilt, prompted by Qingqing to hurry up and hug herself. Greenleaf thought for a moment. Bai Qingqing still threw herself into Parker's arms. Vincent for Cypress. Qingqing didn't take the initiative to hug herself and lose the game. But think about the evening. Bai Qian. Qian will unconsciously hug a warmer self. Vincent's heart was balanced a lot. Early the next morning, Vincent came to the top of the mountain, found the cave where the females were hiding. Seeing Rosa asleep, she immediately woke him up. I have something to ask him. Do you say that Fusho is because of you? Rosa shook her head vigorously, and I thought about the old love. Give you one last chance. Vincent thought if Rosa was being used, you can still send him away as originally planned. If he wants to harm Bai Qingqing, he's going to make his life worse than dead. Rosa thought to herself, he is now at the height of his estrus period. Now Fusho will definitely be even crazier. There's going to be a show right away. Admitting that you have brought happiness and longevity will definitely be given up. When the time comes, Fusho will come in. Maybe there's a chance to live. So he must not admit it. Vincent stood up, sighed and said, I hope you're not lying. Then he said to the team leader, put those who are not in heat. The female was sent to the opposite hill. Harvey was also called afterward. Come with him to the scene. How about the two mating Fusho corpses? Harvey sniffed and replied to the stench. Vincent continued to ask, doesn't it feel familiar? Well, wait, I remembered. It's Rosa's estrus that tastes exactly the same as Fusho. It's just that there is no mercury gas that has been coming down for many years. Got Harvey's affirmative answer. Vincent often sighed, viciously thought, the Rakshasa has already been given a chance. But he's useless. Then, the Fusho behind him seemed to have launched a general attack. A click smashed a large hole in the wall. He fell to the ground with a thud. Wow ran in a large piece of Fusho. The orcs in the city panicked. Run and help. Vincent yelled, called an old flute. Vincent shyly jumped onto Lao Lung's back. The cave is in the treehouse. I also heard what I had just heard. Said to Curtis and Parker. Could it be that the walls have fallen? Hey, I was hit by this crow's mouth. Parker immediately wanted to run out and check it out. Bai Qingqing grabbed Pakla. Wanted Curtis to go. Curtis was not worried about letting Parker protect Bai Qingqing. So what to do? So many females over there. Or Curtis, I'll come with you. Curtis and Parker said in unison. In the end, Curtis relented. Prepare a snake to go to Vincent's side alone. Riding the big old man. Soon they came to the cave where the females were hiding. The chirp fell to the ground. Pull a piece off Fusho's body, down the organs and threw them on the ground. Rosa questioned Rosa loudly. Do you know what it is? This is the glue blood of Fusho. Exactly the same smell as yours. Rosa knew she wouldn't be able to run away this time. Suddenly, it was like being struck by lightning. He shook his head in horror. A furious Vincent suddenly released a slight pressure. I've given you a chance. Vincent questioned Rosa. Then, an orc ran in from outside the cave and said, Fukushu, under the mountain, rushed up. At this time, Vincent did not hesitate. Grabbed Rosa. He dragged Rosa out of the cave like a dead dog. Rosa was raised in full view of everyone. You were the most sought-after female in Wansho City. It's all your own doing. No one else's fault. Facing the blessing of the tiger's stone dandin under the mountain, I threw it down. Curtis witnessed the whole process from afar. There is not the slightest wave in the heart. Rosa was thrown to the ground. The Fusho group walked over. It was a huge Fusho that walked in the middle. The rest of the Fusho dodged away. This may be the king of Fusho. And Rosa, who was thrown to the ground, was only seriously injured and didn't die. King Fusho can't control this. Squeeze yourself. The body of the stone peer-pressed against Rosa's body. Suppressed Rosa's eyes balled. The specific process is experienced by yourself. Rosa let out a scream. Chris turned around and left. The team leader saw that the Fusho had already retreated. Asked what the hell was going on with Vincent. Abby stepped forward and took the initiative to explain. The birth of a female Fukushu. The smell of the colonizer is extremely residual. After eating it raw, it will change the body taste of the eater for a short time. Let Fukushu be mistaken for a female Fukushu who has been eaten. It will be a month before it gradually dissipates. The team leader was shocked when he heard this. So Rosa ate the lesson of the blessed beast. Alway continued. Generally beasts or male orcs will eat it if they are not careful. But never in. It has occurred among female orcs. And at this time, it happened that Rosa was in heat. Will cause a riot in Fusho. It turned out that he ate the companion of King Fusho. How could Rosa eat that thing? The truth is known. There was a lot of talk in the crowd. Vincent said at this time, it may have something to do with the bald old man. It can be done to this extent. I'm afraid it's just that bald old man. The lucky animal king here carried Rosa on his back, drilled through a gap in the wall. Purr purr. And Rosa on his back was still terrified. It's possible that he's dead. After this turmoil, many of the females in the tribe are sick. How Waka got busy and stayed up into the evening. Minson said it all to Curtis. Maybe it's all the stuff of that bald old man. Chris is cruel, and the king will leave it to me. You're in charge of that, since he can control Fusho to threaten the tribe. Then I will govern others in the way of others. The treatment is about to be the peak of our snake beast strength. Vincent thought that the beast of Seawin would become king. And Curtis is a martial artist. It is the king of kings. That strength must be incredible. He can also be anxious about many snakes and beasts. Easily get rid of that old rabbit man. Curtis turned to Vincent and smiled wickedly. You're not trying to expand the tribe. Protect Xiaobai. How about I snatch all their females? So I let them start building the house. Vincent is such a cutie. Parker thought Curtis was out of the way. He will be able to monopolize Bai Qingqing. That's when Chris walked over and grabbed Parker. You go with me. What a thing. Curtis threatens Parker not to say anything. Otherwise, wake up Bai Qingqing and look good with him. The three brutes looked at Bai Qingqing at the same time. Then several people exhaled at the same time. I was relieved too. Curtis continued. Let Vincent communicate with Bai Qingqing every 3 days. Vincent was shocked. Curtis continued. You have to be as gentle as he is. If you can't do it, you can use your hands. Vincent immediately promised to take care of him. Curtis then left the treehouse with Parker in tow. After Chris and Parker are gone, Bai Qingqing discovered a terrible thing. Vincent, who never slept in. I didn't even get up today. Still sleeping during the day. After some inquiry, Bai Qingqing knew. Parker and Chorus went to find the bald. The old man went to settle the score. In the days when they were away, it's up to Vincent to take care of Bai Qingqing. This made Bai Qingqing blush instantly. It's okay to say during the day. What can I do at night? Went to the toilet before. Parker came with the toilet. Do you have to get a tattoo now? And the tattoo in mind is what Chorus said every day. Every 3 days. How do you open your mouth? Do you just face the difficulties or use your hands? None of this went through Bai Qingqing's consent. After a series of mental struggles, Vincent offered to make food for him first. The little banshees came up from under the tree, dialed into the arms of the white-blue spear, instantly relieved the embarrassment of the two. Vincent often said that it was good to have a little demon boy in one breath. After Vincent got the food ready, found Bai Qingqing making clothes for the little demon boys. At this time, there are little cubs. The two of them wouldn't be so awkward together. Vincent naturally brought the food up. Bai Qingqing leaned over to take a look. The stone bowl was full of meat. Bai Qingqing said that he would give some of the meat to the little cubs. Vincent, holding chopsticks, hold a piece of meat and give it to the little cub. The little cubs were in too much of a hurry. I bit off the chopsticks in one bite. No way. Vincent had no choice but to bring a new pair of chopsticks. The little demon boy threw himself into Vincent's arms. Enjoyed it very much. Is even more crooked than his own father. Vincent also felt what it was like to be a father. Thought that Bai Qingqing could give birth to a litter of tiger cubs for himself. That's it. After that, I took the chopsticks for holding the boy. Feet Bai Qingqing. Bai Qingqing didn't eat much before he was full. I heard that eating fruit can be consumed. Vincent immediately ran out to find it. Vincent is resolute. Bai Qingqing didn't stop him either. Then I started to make clothes with peace of mind. Immediately after doing it, I put it on the little leopard cubs. Vincent came back with the fruit. I saw the little leopards playing with Bai Qingqing. Vincent smiled at his aunt. Vincent handed the fruit he found to Bai Qingqing. Bai Qingqing is very proficient. The child was peeled off. Vincent was a little surprised. Such a skillful technique. Could it be that Bai Qingqing has eaten it before? Before Bai Qingqing could answer, she put on a mask of pain. It's too sour. Vincent sees Bai Qingqing like it. Then I'll pick it for you every day. Bai Qingqing hurriedly refused. No, no, no. I'm going to have to keep my stomach for something else. Then I'll cook it for you now. Vincent, who was faced with such a straight man's idea. Bai Qingqing hurriedly explained, Vincent, you are too nervous. I'm not hungry yet. Bai Qingqing had just finished eating. Tell Vincent to stop cooking and finish cooking at night. He's not a pig. Not so edible. Then Bai Qingqing explained. Let Vincent wash the feet of the little demon boys. At night, let the little demon boys also go upstairs to sleep. White, green, green. I want to take advantage of Vincent's time to wash the little demon's feet. Take a shower upstairs by yourself. So use a small cup. I want to drain all the water in the bathtub. After tossing for a while, she was tired and her back hurt. Vincent walked over, looked at Bai Qingqing's sweaty appearance. Immediately hugged Bai Qingqing. Take her for a drink. In the evening, Vincent and Bai Qingqing were lying on the bed. The little cubs were making a fuss around the bed. The boss of the hugging boys stared at Bai Qingqing's source of life. Sucked a little mouth. Stars in both eyes. Then when he was hugged by Bai Qingqing, I took a bite of it. Bai Qingqing was annoyed. Pushed the baby leopard away. And followed Parker's example and shout at them. Sure enough, this trick was very effective. The little leopard is not naughty at once. Bai Qingqing turned around, face to face, and Vincent hugging. I felt like I was being hugged even tighter by Vincent. After lying down for a while, Bai Qingqing writhed around in the bed, very restless. Finally, he turned his back to Vincent. Then I fell asleep peacefully. Bai Qingqing, who fell asleep, still in the bed, hired to move. Then, Xiao Yuze set his sights on Bai Qingqing's source of life again. Quietly put his paw on it. It's a black screen in the back. By the next morning, Bai Qingqing found that her body was swollen. The first object of suspicion was Vincent. He was very angry about this. I didn't expect Vincent to be this kind of person. Do such a lewd thing. Usually it's too serious. I don't know how to accuse him now. What a big sullen sass. Bai Qingqing lifted the quilt very angrily. Tell Satsuki, let's get dressed up. Come pee. Vincent was woken up. I found that Bai Qingqing's mood was not quite right. Immediately said that he was going to make breakfast. Bai Qingqing was angry. While dressing the little demon boys, Vincent is like a monk who is confused. I went down to make breakfast with a puzzled face. At this time, Bai Qingqing wanted to go to the toilet again. But he didn't want to be called Vincent. The little demon boy on the other side screamed. Bai Qingqing didn't know what the little demon boys were doing. Picked up the boss. The second and third are on the side. Suddenly, Bai Qingqing reacted. It's very likely that he misunderstood Vincent. Then he picked up the boss. I asked if I had bitten my mother last night. If you don't tell the truth, let Father Vincent come up and smell it. You know who did it. At this time, the boss nodded aggrievedly, and it was me. Bai Qingqing was suddenly a little scared. Fortunately, I hesitated just now. Didn't immediately question Vincent. Otherwise, it will be embarrassing. At this time, Vincent brought the prepared food. Bai Qingqing recalled a gentle smile. It looks delicious. Let's try it first. In the face of Bai Qingqing's performance, Vincent was even more puzzled. Only heard of females being moody in the morning. It turned out to be true. Tiger Vincent cooks for the first time. Bai Qingqing spoke highly of it and said it was delicious. Vincent looked at the mischievous cub on the side. They're really noisy. Bai Qingqing asked if it looked like their little cub. Vincent's mind was, if only Bai Qingqing could give him a litter of tiger cubs. It's good to learn about Curtis and Parker. It will take about half a month to come back. Bai Qingqing missed the two of them a little. Fortunately, now he has Vincent by his side. Then asked Vincent, want to touch his cubs? Vincent put his hand on his stomach. Immediately felt Bai Enin's movement. Although Enin usually moves like this, but not as often as it is today. Vincent, he put his hand on Bai Qingqing's stomach again. Bai Enin moved again. Bai Qingqing was even more affirmative. This kid is Vincent's. Think of when the child is born. It's probably snowing. Really hopeful. Curtis and Parker were able to get back early. The screen then cuts to Curtis and Parker. Parker kills a wolf beast on the shore. Clapped his hands. Curtis's big taba, Ash commands numerous snakes. Surround all the tribes in front of you. The yellow mermaid in the water found Curtis. Immediately panicked. Dig into the water to find the piano. The blue-haired woman was combing her hair comfortably in the room. The old man opened the door with a snap. The piano is not good. But Chris brought a lot of mythical beasts to report. We're back. Come with me. Just as the old rabbit man took the blue-haired woman's hand. When you want to run away quickly. Chris swiped and rushed to the door. With extremely exaggerated poses. Said viciously to the old rabbit man, bald donkey. It's time to pay off the debt you owe. The old rabbit man and Jean were so frightened that they were covered in a cold sweat. But it's still a hard mouth. You don't want to think about it. In the end, the old rabbit man began to work well. Chris. Curtis turned his head to look at Xiao Bai, and here I am. Ha! Curtis turned his head and saw the apparition of the white blue. His gaze softened all of a sudden. Isn't Xiao Bai pregnant with a cub? Why didn't Curtis ignore me? Come here. The blue-haired woman was dissuaded from the bald old man at this time, saying that this is not controlled. It seems that Chris really is. The level of the beast is above. Give it a try. The bald old man increased his mana. Efforts control Curtis's mind. Curtis is also fully immersed. The bald old man created a fantasy. Curtis, I'm a novice. Xiao Bai. Curtis reached for the phantom of the white blue. Unexpectedly, pulled by Qingqing's hand in the illusion at once. Broken at the same time, the bald old man also spat out a mouthful of blood. "You okay?" Curtis looked at the severed hand in his hand. Slightly surprised, the bald old man was fully concerned. "Strengthen beliefs." Xiao Bai cried. At this critical time, the mermaid Huang Mao rushed over and opened the door. Click. Mao Mao rushed into the house. I saw that the blue-haired woman was hiding and fighting Curtis. Behind the bald old man of the bucket, the blue-haired woman saw Kim come in. All of a sudden, he threw himself into Kim's arms. The bald old man struggled to control Curtis. He instructed Kim to take the blue-haired woman and go quickly. "What about you? I'll hold him back." "You guys go, hey ha." Cadiz ignored me. "Hurry up," but your blue-haired woman runs over, holding the face of a bald old man. Snapped and kissed it. "Must live. I'll wait for you to come back. If there is a next life, I also chose you as a partner." In Curtis's vision, I also chose you as a partner. Also through the white-green mouth in the illusion. It was passed into Curtis's ears. And Jean and Curtis in reality. Suddenly, they said yes in unison. Then the old rabbit man will be the blue-haired woman. A handful pushed to gold. This yellow hair did not hesitate in the slightest.